7:33.
Just so everybody knows, we're on TV.
I know, our backs out.
But he said he has 3 cameras so he can really focus on us, no matter where we are. Isn't that nice?
It is 8:17 actually.
8:17. That's the last day. What day is the meeting? Is that? What's that?
And-
That's on hiatus, right?
Yes.
Excuse me, we're on
No, you just asked for a date of a meeting he's going to talk about.
meeting forward?
The regional meeting for MS, Office on Disabilities, is going to be a hiatus August 22nd.
Yep.
I recommend a lot of people go, sign in date, want to respond by August 17th.
We have to respond to say we're coming?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a regional commission on disabilities meeting.
Yep.
Cape's pretty active. I know Scituate's above the bridge, but
That's okay.
we don't do too many of them, so we're going to try to grab as many.
Right.
people as we-
Just to let everybody know, so we introduce, this is Jeff Dugan, who, former commission member and recently, very recently appointed new commission member, who has not yet been sworn in, but,
So I'm not going to.
so he can't vote on anything like on tonight, but he's here, and that's great, and we really missed him because he's very, very knowledgeable.
Wealth of
And he works
knowledge.
at the Massachusetts Office on Disabilities.
May I just ask one question?
No,
Do you all know the Wi-Fi I have? You can sign in as Scituate guest here. Do you know what the password is? Coldbrook123, if it has to be all caps for Coldbrook?
no idea.
Okay. Okay, no, I'd asked them and okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, can we move on to the minutes?
Yeah, everybody read the minutes that you
Well,
emailed?
no, they just went out this
Right,
afternoon.
That's okay.
With my apologies, but,
No, I printed them.
okay. I left copies up for everyone on the desk. Anybody want to motion to accept them or
Get them
correct
for
them,
minutes.
or what?
Give them 4 minutes.
Do you need time
read
to
it
look at
already.
them? Yeah, do you need time to look at them, Michelle?
No, I know.
Okay,
I looked at them.
okay.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Michelle.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous,
Is there
okay.
an extra copy now that I'm going to read?
Yep,
now?
there
I'd
is.
like to-
Yeah, here you go. Here you go. I'm sorry I didn't make one for you
Yeah, no,
because,
it's fine. I just wanna-
Did you have an agenda?
do I have an agenda?
Yes.
Didn't you get one? Jeff, I sent Jeff an agenda.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, moving on to old business. Just as a clarification, in the minutes, I'm sure you saw that we didn't do a lot about what was going on with our activities in the last meeting because it was focused on the,
Guest papers.
right. So we didn't do anything with the monitoring last time, so I don't know if what we need to do right now. But that's where we're at,
Okay.
monitoring. Anything on Jenkins School curb cut and the pathway? Have they worked on that?
I haven't seen
I
any
haven't looked.
improvement as of this time.
Pardon?
I haven't seen any improvement as of this time.
Okay.
The middle school is not completed yet. I haven't had a tour, even though some selectmen and other members have. Toured the building. I've asked. I did tour the safety building that we had the meeting at last month.
Right.
And as Mr. Sheen also pointed out, there were some issues that weren't ADA compliant that hopefully Bob Vogel and them are addressing right now.
Okay. And you addressed them with that individual? I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the individual you talked to.
I already talked to Bob Vogel first about some things that stood out. Some
Right,
of the
but
handicap
who
parking.
did you talk to at the public safety building?
At the public safety building, when Bill Sheen was at the meeting, he said that you saw
Oh,
some things.
I see, okay.
I
He
did confirm.
noticed things.
And
okay.
I confirmed him that they will be
All right,
looked into.
Okay. And Bill Shine, so that everybody knows, is a member of the Independent Living Council,
He was
or
here
Living
last month.
Associates.
Right, he was here last month.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Did you guys actually get Steve Higgins here as well?
Yes, both of them were here, yep.
He recommended hi, and his daughter said hi to you
Yeah,
too.
his daughter used to work for him.
Who did?
His daughter.
Jackie Higgins, who used to work in MOD. I used to work with Steve when I was at the Metro West Center for about
Oh, okay.
17 years
Mm.
at this point. But
When I first got
Okay,
trained, Jeff
awesome.
and his daughter trained me. Okay. Shared concerns with the harbor master. He was at the selectmen's meeting last night. I was going in and out of the meetings because as people presented things, they would mention things about 88 compliance and so on, and I would take them outside, when they left outside, and address certain issues to make sure that they were being looked into. Steve mentioned something about, because there were grants and funding that we were trying to get from at the time, but the
Mhm.
fiscal year ended and so on.
Right.
That we're still working on it.
So you're working on, for this fiscal year, you're working on getting him funding for
In
the
regards
lift.
to lifts for the marina and also for the harbor master.
So you're working on getting those
Yes.
grants in place? Okay. Okay.
And speaking of grants, there was a thing about the dog park that,
Wait, wait.
What? Since we mentioned the word grants.
But, yeah, but that's, we're talking about the harbor master.
That's it.
Okay.
how big is the harbor master?
Harbor master's is 2 floors. It's roughly,
I'm just curious what buildings, but I'm just curious, I can't remember if it's that big. I mean, it was the postcard office, the chairs.
no, it's 2 buildings.
The harbor master's right in Cole Parkway.
Yeah, right.
So is the Coast Guard.
Yes.
Harbor
Yeah,
master's
see,
in the
see,
building.
that's over here, then you-
Yeah, oh, you're right, and
Yeah.
the Coast Guard
Yeah.
has
Coast
the
Guard.
back side
Yeah.
of it, yeah.
Have we still going with C, John, anything new with the handicap parking or,
The handicap park in Cole Parkway is still an issue. They're changing things right now
well, don't
for,
talk about this week because,
yeah, for the thing. And
Right.
And they might discuss how that carnival thing changed the flow, and they might make little tweaks to incorporate back before going back to where it was.
Oh, really?
They're
Oh.
they're seeing how the crowd likes it.
Okay.
This is the rumors that I've heard.
okay. Anything on, and I'm gonna forget his name, Patrolman,
Billings.
Billings.
Taylor Billings.
Yeah, so I emailed him to confirm if he was coming tonight, and he said he was planning on it unless something came up. So maybe
Something came up.
something came up, or maybe he's still gonna come.
Right.
have you talked to him recently?
I didn't, the recent TRA meeting
Mhm.
is, I think, next week, so I didn't hear anything.
So the most recent was at the
The most recent was last month,
At the
and when I
June
went there,
TRA meeting.
he planned on going, and the issue was that he talked to the chief, and they're not concerned whether they're gonna raise it another $100 or raise it to $150. They're not sure, but they're talking
So
about raising.
they haven't determined how much they're gonna raise it.
Yes. But that's also.
Have they
up to
determined
the
that they're
board and
going to
so on.
ticket?
Okay, you're putting me on the spot here.
I'm sorry.
The thing is, being proactive, if you remember the prior meetings, when John Denby here, he did mention that he's gonna try, when it comes to the summertime, make them more proactive for the temporary officers to patrol better. and be-
Right.
Okay, hopefully he
We're in the
is feeling the
summertime.
same way now.
We're in the summertime. Do we know if they've increased ticketing?
The treasurer, any tickets, any
No,
fines?
there have been no tickets, and I will say, driving around when I need to park, I've noticed all the handicap spots are taken by people with handicap space, with handicap placards.
They have the placards?
Yes.
Well, at least that's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
Mhm.
I have noticed that, so that's good.
Yeah,
And if they weren't, I'd stand right here, sit right here. I'd call the police.
yeah, it was my understanding that it was going to be enforced at that new rate, effective when I spoke to him in April.
But the new rate hasn't been approved yet.
Let's go through the board
Right.
and so on.
Yeah, and he has to still come here to the meeting.
Well, we don't control the
So
rate.
who has to actually approve it, the police or who?
I'm sure that the
Board.
Board of Selectmen and the department, the
Any
police
raise-
department
Any
have
raise
to
in
approve
fees,
the
they have to
increase.
approve it.
Okay.
And they have to make sure that the officer's doing adjustable thing. There is, with Master UT, there is an organization for fraudulent thing that go around, and they try to make people doing fraudulent parking.
Okay,
Fine them. There's 2 kinds of fines. One is civil and one is criminal.
okay.
If someone is illegally parking there, then it's a little more hefty. Our
Right.
problem may be that the handicap parking spots aren't done correctly, where that's the hash marking is supposed to be 5 feet to 8 feet wide, and some of them aren't that way.
Right.
Okay? So I addressed the
TRA.
RA and Bob Vogel on that, and they're looking
So
at that also.
the parking spaces is themselves?
Yes,
The markings?
yes.
Okay.
In regards to the signs seem to be all fine. Some of them have to add the word van to them for the van handicap parking spots. But in regards to numberage, based on the parking spots and the flow of human traffic, they seem to be more than appropriate. Parking.
Playgrounds?
Playgrounds, anything, Meg, in regards to parking?
They're fundraising, they said that it should be done by the end of summer, but.
Okay. I had in my minutes somewhere that there was a company named as who was doing the work.
I know they had a few, I think they were putting it out to bid, and
Uh-huh.
I know, and they had a company that they were working with as a, kind of advisory
Yep.
committee.
I can go back
Yeah, I'm
to my
not
notes,
sure.
but, okay. But
the-
they
it's
must have
still-
got somebody if it's gonna be done by the end of the
I
summer.
know, it doesn't, kind of looks the same as it did.
Okay.
And based on the Hammers for the Park, I did talk to the park recreation manager that Gator is more than willing to make a park, a bus stop in that area
Forward.
for the community, to bring
We're
children back
we're
and
not at
forth.
Gantry yet, John.
No, to the playground,
For North
But that
Station.
would
yes.
be under
They can be in the boat.
Gantry, okay?
Okay, all right.
Countryway, Tilden Road. That's the Morning Glory's place. Well, kind of.
They really haven't broken ground in that area yet.
Did they get the
plans that I
approval
see-
from the AAB as far as the request to accommodate their option?
Yes, they do. Anywhere like this is in your building? They were going for a variance because there's a difference in levels on the top floor. They were trying to make it historical, one building in front, and the other way with an apartment, and the slope is too
I
steep.
can find out what they got. I didn't know they went for variance. I'm trying to remember if I sat on the board that day or if I recused myself for some reason.
Well, the first variance, they got denied,
Okay.
and then they tried to go in different plans, but I haven't heard since then.
You, just in all fairness, you will be notified. You will email
I know.
something from them. But I can check, do a quick check tomorrow.
Okay, great.
All right, we have the transition plan still on the monitoring. I think that we don't really have anything to monitor with that until they have the company named as to who's doing it and when it's starting.
Well,
So-
before the transition plan comes into effect, they're required to have a self-evaluation plan, and that's going to go in place too. And
But that has to be done by the town and not by us, and we have to be,
usually commissions and disabilities help them out.
Right.
Same way with the open space.
but we
that went
haven't
out.
been asked to do that by anybody other than the Recreation Department yet,
Mhm.
and the Planning, Conservation Commission.
Well, initially Bob Vogel sent us an email saying he's more than welcoming applause us for trying to do it, so I'm trying to keep in touch with Bob Vogel so he knows that we're still proactive in this.
So, I know Scituate they voted for it or something, or some money.
They voted money to send out an RFP to get somebody to do the transition plan.
Have they
That
heard back what kind of?
that went out July 1st. Oh, God.
And I
That was
know-
eligible to go out July
I know we're not
1st.
at the Situate Dog Park, so, not yet, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna refer to the grant that was applied for the Situate Dog Park.
Okay.
The
Yes.
Office on Disability, the municipal ADA grant. Municipal ADA Improvement Grant Program. There is monies, or there will be, at least through a competitive process, monies that could help towns fund their self-evaluation and transition plan projects. So if they're finding that, when they set aside 50,000,
Yes.
if they want to apply for monies, it's opening August 1st for the grant. They'll have it by January. If they win, if they
But-
win.
But they, would they not,
apply for the grant?
The town, probably Patricia or whoever she would designate to.
would the self-evaluations have to be done?
Well, they can, if.
They're not.
Well, so they have something on file. What they want to do is update their stuff.
Yeah, considering they're 20 years old.
They can apply for as much as they would need to update their self-evaluation and transition plan.
The town can,
Yeah.
via Patricia,
Yeah, via,
So does-
or whom, or, you know.
Before it was,
Could be
the
some
Board of
town
Selectmen,
executive.
Little
so.
Hot Bottom went to get the grant at the last meeting, and I don't know if she got it or not.
Excuse me, I couldn't.
Laura
Little Hot
Hubbard
Bottom
from the
was the
planning board,
planning
who just
board.
retired.
Okay, she retired,
Right.
went to the meeting that the ADA, MOD had. I went to also, and she was trying to get a grant for the transition plan at the time. I don't know if she
What
got it or not.
happened?
Well,
Well,
so, you know, I couldn't review that particular, the dog park one, but I don't think there was one for a self-evaluation transition plan applied at the same time. Doesn't mean they weren't trying to, but maybe couldn't get it in by the deadline. But we should, at some point, let them know that they're probably gonna reapply for the dog park one, because
Right.
They didn't get the dog park one?
Well, I think the
They didn't, they
timing,
didn't,
I think
yes.
the timing was too short of a window
Oh,
with this grant and this restriction. MOD got the money very late, and we had some trouble. We awarded some communities who had trouble spending the money, basically, because they couldn't award in the time frame that we had. So there is a new process coming up in August of 18 that will allow them to reapply.
August of 18?
August, August for the 18 cycle.
Oh, I see, okay.
It's gonna go live on our website on August 1st. So
Okay.
whomever watches the grants should probably watch that and at least.
So we should let the dog park people know.
The dog park people know, which I think we already have.
Yes, she
Okay,
does not.
okay.
We had a conversation, but the town administrator, when the board.
so maybe
should know.
we, as the commission,
The
should.
commission should probably write a
Let-
letter to the board of selectmen saying, hey,
This
there's
grant's
this
available.
opportunity, we know we've got 50,000 for the self-evaluation and transition plan, that we've set aside as a town. We should potentially ask for another 50 so we can do our self-evaluation in a more comprehensive document. Therefore, you know, we have matching funds, so we could get matching funds.
Okay.
Okay, that's the
That's
plan.
great. I'm happy to write that letter.
It's just a simple letter, and it's,
Yeah.
if you want.
I'll write the letter.
The website that they should probably be going to is
Hello.
www.mass.gov
That's Michelle's husband.
/MOD for Mass Office and Disability, and then
Oh.
/ADA grant. And there's, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's two types of grants. One for your self-evaluation and transition plan, which would MOD potentially could help fund, as well as architectural or communication barriers that normally will run the project process. But right now, the website just says FY17 is closed.
Communication, oh, I'd say, you said architectural communication.
Yeah, or communication.
So
barriers.
that could that play into the whole deaf persons being able to hear at different functions
Oh,
that the
yeah.
town
They,
has?
they wanted to buy assistive listening devices. We had, there was one town that
Okay,
a significant chunk to do assistive listening devices in their schools.
okay.
We did get assisted listening devices available at the town meeting. Because I was at a meeting the other day with the Friends of Scituate Seniors, and they said it was the very first time that they had ever been able to hear everything that went on at the town meeting, because they sat in special chairs, had special headphones, and everything was, the
Okay,
The other one
audio
hasn't.
level was adjusted for them depending on the speaker.
I'm not
Good.
sure that's town-owned.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not sure it's
town.
town-owned.
Pardon?
I'm not sure it was town-owned, actually, Elaine. I think that was they hire a guy who comes in and sets the audio up, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure. That's
That's
one
okay.
I just caution you on. I'm not sure it's actually town-owned or not. That's something we should look into to confirm. And if not, then we should be making sure we have
If
it.
it wasn't town-owned, how did it get there?
Because they hire somebody to come in and who does the acoustics and the audio, and I think it was his equipment, maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe it was bought by the town, I'm not.
I don't know, but they implied that this was the first time they'd ever been able to
It's the
hear.
first time we'd ever used it. It's
Okay.
the first time it's ever been brought to town meeting. I'm not sure whether or not it's actually town-owned equipment or whether the vendor who came in to help do the audio actually brought it from his own because the town requested it. So
I see.
So last night was raised, but I'm just saying to you, we need to know that, because if we don't, then we should look at purchasing and ensuring that we have
Yeah,
that.
we should
And
definitely
maybe
get that,
getting a
yeah.
grant, if we don't own it, getting the grant money from, MOD.
It's an eligible
Okay.
It's not very
grant
go far. It's,
opportunity.
okay, good.
It will be a competitive grant. You know, it's only $1 million, so when you spread that out between 300 communities,
It's not a lot of
It can become
money.
very competitive with an Google Prize, so, but I think just letting the select board know
Mhm.
That's an opportunity there for self-evaluation transition plan.
Right.
Let the dog park people know, because it's just unfortunate they didn't take advantage of it. There's a short window, they'll have a longer window. in the,
Mrs. Rose are reapplying for it, sure, talking about that.
Yeah, our office.
And it opens up on August first?
Yes, the
And
website will go live.
is it sort of like time sensitive so that people
There's
who
about a
apply
2 month,
earlier?
I think there's a 2 month window in order to apply, and we have to shut it down so we can start evaluating all the applications that are going to come in. So it's a short window to apply. Yeah, and again, this will all be spelled on the website, but my estimate would be by January, awards will be given, contracts will be signed,
Okay.
and start to be.
Does it matter if the earlier you apply, when applies?
Not this time,
Okay.
because it's competitive. We're going to
Okay.
call in, we'll review them,
Okay.
or the review committee will review them.
And the beauty is you can apply for more than one grant, in regards to the audio thing, the dog park.
Yep,
So,
I understand.
and I'm also working on things for the marina, lifts and so on, that aspect.
Mhm.
There's a lot of interest.
So all that was on the transition plan was I was going to take off the agenda.
No,
Sorry
okay,
about
no,
that. Council on Aging update, the last meeting that I was at was in June. Selectman Danahy was announced to be the new liaison for the Council on Aging.
I am texting, I'm emailing Lorraine about the listening devices as we speak.
Okay, thank you.
So yes, I am the liaison.
For the Council on Aging. That's a repeat. He was the liaison in prior years, but is coming back now. We were scheduled to have a meeting tomorrow, the second Thursday of the month. Linda Hayes, the director, is away on vacation in the Appalachians. I don't know what, I wouldn't call that a vacation, but she's there. So we were going to hold the meeting July 27th, which has now been scheduled to be the double meeting for the presentation of the senior center architectural development. There's a meeting at 4 o'clock and another one at 7 o'clock on that date. So we will not be meeting, the Council on Aging will not be meeting on that date. So we will probably meet again in August, just that way. There's been a number of, at least 2 people have resigned from the Council on Aging. So they're accepting applicants to go through the Board of Selectmen to become new members of the Council on Aging. So that will be coming up at the next meeting, hopefully.
Some pretty good applicants last night, if I remember correctly.
Yes, or
For like 4 very strong.
But did you have any applicants go through besides Jeff, John?
We did, but they were they were the only candidates.
Oh,
there's still one
okay,
coming, yeah.
okay. So there will be more interviews held at a next selectmen meeting.
Correct.
Okay, okay. So that was the Council on Aging update. Transportation for the disabled, GATRA expansion, John?
Okay, back to the council, on Aging. Before you go
Right.
on. Council of Aging members, a lot of them approached me after the safety meeting they had there for their planning of the new development. The issue was they couldn't hear things back and forth. The place was packed. There were people standing outside, a lot of left, and I was allowed to enter. So when they had a meeting last night, they were talking about having it at the new acoustic auditorium. The thing with the acoustic thing is the way it's set up, if you're on the stage, it's designed to go outward. It's not designed to come back the other way. So Dr. Price mentioned about audio systems, and I was proactive, but also making sure that someone would have a mic and walk around, because some people also have mobility issues and can't walk to a mic or do it. So Tricia and the board, I believe, voted to make sure these are all in place. The chairperson agreed that they'll look into it. I guess this seats 700 people, so there's one at 7, and one at 4, and one at 7, if I'm like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But they are trying to make very proactive for audio and people with mobility issues to make sure they're present.
And I'm
I'm
sure
very
that
happy with
those
that.
will be filmed as well, I'm sure.
In the auditorium?
I'm looking at John. He's
I'm
looking
not
at
really
space.
sure if, I assume there's certainly cable capabilities I'm not sure whether we actually have live capability.
Well, I don't,
But,
not
yeah.
live, but it would be
We'll make
recorded.
sure with the SCTV that it will be,
Okay.
one of the two will be filmed.
All right.
And since that's said, before I go forward, members of the Council of Aging and other people who attend wanted me to be an advocate and make sure that the town knew when these upcoming meetings happened, because it's going to be so going towards them, and they usually have more hearing disabilities, that these listening devices are in place and the microphone system. So I was asked by Lorraine Devon to make sure that we have a vote to make sure that we approve to forward it,
All right.
since we're proactive for disability issues.
We need a motion to
To what?
have the Commission on Disabilities recommend that at future meetings dealing with town issues, there would be accommodations made for
Listening
people
devices.
with mobility issues and hearing issues so that they would be able to actively participate. I made that motion.
Oh, I know I'm not voting and because
Right.
I'm supporting it, but wouldn't it be more appropriate that to really work for a policy in which people could reach out to somebody in town for them to request the accommodation?
They've already
They
requested
Well,
it
they
of
requested
John.
Right, but it really should, I mean.
And we've been requested by
I'm
Lorraine.
not questioning that they need it, they definitely.
No, but Lorraine has requested us to vote on
To
it.
vote on it.
Oh,
Does that have to
Well,
vote?
but to vote on what?
The motion that I just made.
But you were, when you were wording the motion, you were sort of, I don't understand what exactly. the
I made a
was.
motion that we as a commission recommend that the town make accommodations for people with mobility issues and hearing issues to be able to actively participate in town meetings.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Anybody against this or
All in
motion?
favor?
Yeah, so this is, it just sounds like,
Oh, sorry. So I understand, John, you're saying that people talk to you after the meeting. In order to get the Council on Aging to officially ask somebody from this Council on Disabilities, it has to go through the Commission on, the Council on Aging through a vote. If they're going to request an official member of your commission to be an advocate for something. So I didn't hear that, and maybe,
John, there
maybe
was-
I
there were
misunderstood. Let me
citizens-
finish here. Citizens may say that, but you have to have an official, if you're going to say one council, one committee's requesting another one, you need to have that. As far as citizens asking, that's fine. Elaine, your motion says that you're going to have an advocacy, but your motion just says that all you're asking is that there's accessibility and that people have the ability to do it. But that is not saying that you're designating one person.
No.
And so I just
No,
want
I
to make sure.
didn't mean to
John
designate
was
one
saying
person.
that he was
We
gonna be
were
the
asked
designated, and that didn't make sense.
John was asked, and then when he made the request of Lorraine, she said, well, where's the Commission on Disability vote on that? And it wasn't the commission making the recommendation. So what we're doing now is
I have
in
no
response
problems
to
with that, but
her.
It really should come through me. I'm the liaison. She's the administrative assistant for the
Right.
Board of Selectmen. I'm not really sure what Lorraine was saying, and I think it's somewhat being taken out of context here. But whatever you folks decide is fine with me, but next time it really should go through me if there's an issue with what you're talking about, so at least I can assure this board as the liaison that that will not be a problem. But I can tell you right now, that's why we picked the public safety, not the public safety building. We're not taking the public safety building
Yeah.
because of the acoustics as well as the AC, but we took the Performing Arts Center because the acoustics should be, after spending the amount of money that we had, should be fine. And regardless, we did have the mic that was, that can be floated around, and we will have that at the Performing Arts Center on July 27th.
Okay.
For both meetings.
So
So then I think
what the
that
motion that we made,
it almost sounds
Would
like
be
Bill.
it's so
okay.
redundant. I mean, I think that,
Like,
but
the
we were
town will follow
requested to have
ADA.
that vote made.
right, but that was by Lorraine, and where we've got the selectman saying he's really her boss, and he's gonna, this is something
Is there
that
a
we-
problem with making the motion?
No, because it's what people have to do. I mean, the
Well, no, they
selectmen
don't
will-
have to do it,
Oh, by law, by
but they
ADA
haven't
do.
in the past.
But John Dennehy just said
That they
he's going
would,
to
and it
talk
was
to
set
the
up.
selectmen and get them to do it. And I
But
don't
it
think
wouldn't
that-
hurt anything to have it on the record
I was asked to
that
make
we
it official.
wanted, that we recommended that this be done.
I think she wondered where, didn't recommend to do it, but she was asking the question where this had been posted before, or where it was in the minutes before. That was my understanding of
from Lorraine's email, was
She-
wondering
when
why,
she talked
where
to me-
the vote came from the Commission on Disabilities, and we hadn't made one. It had only been a request from several senior citizens of John. And John replied to Lorraine and said, no, this didn't come from the
Didn't come
Commission
from
on
us.
Disabilities,
It
but
came
we
from
will have a
citizens.
vote at our
Okay.
next meeting.
If you need to make it official, and that's why I'm here doing the vote.
We're making a vote on something that the town's already obligated to do.
Right,
It's
and what
more-
made what official? That we're gonna follow
What
the
I'm
law?
thinking might be more appropriate is a motion to offer advice to the.
Well,
to
my
the-
email also included,
Select
it
board
was,
that-
should be, it was already understood, like, it's understood that they should have these things if requested. And-
I have had that,
If
But I was
Mentioned-
told, I was
requested
told,
from us.
But
I was told to make it, I was asked to make it
But I think the
official.
bigger stumbling block is the fact that it's either the COA or the entities that are doing these events may not understand that they have the obligation to provide those assistive listening devices or accommodations to individuals.
I don't think that
prior to
those
meetings. That's one of the
accommodations
bigger-
have been made in the past,
Right.
regardless of who knew about it, because I had a member of the Friends of Scituate Seniors say to me yesterday that she was at her first town meeting, that she was ever able to hear anything, because she was sitting at a seat that had hearing, you know. So it has not been made available in the past,
Right, which I'm not,
Despite
which
the
I'm not
fact
saying
that-
that it's not an issue. I mean, what
despite the
I'm
fact
getting
that
at is-
it was known that it needed to be made available.
Well, maybe the Council on Aging didn't know, maybe.
It wasn't Council on Aging, it was a town hall meeting,
Well, then they know now they have to make it available.
but they've known that.
Well, why don't we just add it into our, you know,
Statement.
into our statement to discuss it and keep it, you know, we'll be monitoring it, and then in the meantime, John can follow up with Lorraine.
And Lorraine and the board, and Tricia, who
Right.
sometimes, I mean,
And
that,
we'll.
So what are the items that you want? You want listening aids to ensure. We'll make sure that's there. What else do you want there? That's not,
And
that's
a
what I'm saying.
movable mic.
It would also be a mic, because some people have
Right.
mobility
And that
issues
was
and they
both
can't get to the mic.
Hearing and the mobility issue.
That's fine. I just need to know exactly what you're looking for. If you're gonna make a motion like that, that's broad, then you need to at least give us what it is that the town has been deficient in the past that I can approach and make sure it happens. That's all.
Well, the people asked me directly, John, was this, can you have it as special town meetings?
Well, it needs to
Any meeting for
be,
the Council of Aging, because that really affects the issue where most people, they feel go there have learning disabilities. And they're kind of embarrassed to mention it. So I said, we're advocate
I'm
of
glad
the.
they mentioned it to you, John, then you know what, just let me know if it's Council on Aging now, if you're saying it's a problem, then Linda Hayes should know it, she is the director of it. And now we're beyond the scope of the Commission on
Right, it
Disabilities. But I'm
wasn't-
saying, if that's an issue with the Council on Aging, the Council on Aging and its commission should know that. And so, you know, that's great, then you should be relaying that to them.
It wasn't-
You're asking about the Commission on, Council on Aging with July 27th. If there's a problem,
The special town meeting, they want the special town meetings
that's
for
a
the big
separate issue. We're
projects.
talking about the 27th right now.
Yep.
Special town meeting hasn't been
scheduled.
identified or scheduled. If that's something that's a concern after the last annual town meeting that people can't hear, then let's raise that then. There's no sense to say that they don't have it because we just had it the last meeting that Elaine just talked about. If there are
Right.
problems from the last one, let's figure what those problems are, we'll figure it out, we'll fix them for the next one.
And I don't think that there were issues with Council on Aging
It
board
wasn't the
meetings
board meeting.
themselves.
No, it
No,
was the fact
It
that
was,
they could have
it
these
was simply the public safety building discussion, and that was just,
on the
a
safety
horror
building,
show.
the new safety building.
Right?
you couldn't breathe, you couldn't sit, you couldn't hear.
So let me just address that issue. It was the new building.
Right,
It
no,
just
no,
opened.
it's nothing.
I had no idea that the AC wasn't working. The town doesn't own the building officially. It's still under the contract for the contractor on the punch list. So the AC wasn't working. The audio was not good. It was very poor. And that's another issue that we're working on before officially the contractor walks off. So those are issues, but we brought it there because it was a larger space than here. It certainly, you know, turned out that we should have probably postponed that issue and waited to the Performing Arts Center. But we wanted to get that report out
Right.
so we could start the process.
Mhm.
Because the Council on Aging is itching to get going, and we want, as a town, to move this issue. So I will admit to the fact that I was the one that recommended the public safety building, but certainly sitting through there, it has its deficiencies, but we will make sure that it won't happen the next time, that there is a public meeting of the size that we had there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have, do we,
So we don't need to take.
do we need to make a motion, or to say nothing, or do we
I
just?
think it's noted on the minutes.
Admission that John
It's
Denny is
noted,
looking
that's
into to
not.
make sure.
Until I say it.
And ultimately, the motion would be to tell John this anyways, if John's not here, so,
We
you
told
know,
him.
it's ultimately, we've got an answer without even having to. or
Okay.
Without a motion.
You're on the hook, John.
I'm texting right now, and let me tell you, or emailing, they're gonna be done.
Okay. All right.
You have my email too? Do you want to text it to me?
No, I'm texting it to, my
Audio
secretary.
tools.
Right.
What?
He's talking about the email about the listening devices.
What?
I'm texting it to my secretary, Lorraine Devon.
Oh, okay.
Who's the selectman secretary, John. I don't need to CC
Okay,
you
all
on it.
right.
I'll inform the board, or the commission, once I have responses, okay?
Thank you.
Just because of what I heard. When's Marty moving?
He's already gone.
Oh,
He's in California.
where in California?
I don't know.
It's a big state. Come on.
It's somewhere in Southern California.
Southern,
somewhere,
okay.
So,
Huh?
I'm
Good
sorry,
for him.
that's all.
No, I'm just, it was just a side note.
B,
Okay,
B.
BB,
hmm?
3B.
B, broadening transportation.
The Jenkins School has been aware of what they can do. I guess there's nothing been taken out of the Treasury's account yet because they hasn't been a month over to put the bill for, so I have no idea where they stand on that.
Okay, but they know that they
They
can
know
take
it's
it
there,
into,
yes.
this is, what we voted for, at our last meeting, which was just part of, the presentation, but then we voted on this, to set aside $1,800 to be able to, supplement transportation for students who were attending this, summer program at Jenkins. We don't know yet because it's just, the summer program started June 26th, so,
So I did call Nancy, I emailed Nancy Holt, and there is no one's requested any money. My concern is that you say that the program's up and running. I don't know if parents have been notified.
that would not be up to us, though.
Us. We can't do it.
Let me finish?
No,
No?
I'm kidding.
Okay. That I don't know if the school has notified the parents of this program. I'm not saying we should be notifying, but I'm wondering if in fact the people that have this program have set up a system whereby the parents of disabled kids or the disabled parents themselves actually know about the program.
I do know that the principal at the school
Yes.
was very appreciative of our funding for the
I remember that
project.
she said that at the meeting.
Pardon?
I remember at the meeting when we approved it, she was appreciative.
But I'm talking about an email that came from her after the last meeting. She wasn't at the last meeting.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
And she sent an email, and she was very appreciative of the fact that we had appropriated funds for this program. So
Right.
I'm assuming,
Well,
that she
wouldn't
would-
we don't assume, we know that old Felix Unger joke, right?
right. But I have not spoken with her. John
Have you,
has not
John?
spoken with her. Have you spoken with her?
We
to see?
agreed
No,
to
she
give
won't take
them,
my calls. She said she'd already explained it all to someone else on the commission, and I don't know. All I want to know is, do the parents know about, are the parents aware that this money is available to the GATRA program?
Well, I mean,
I was
that,
told that it was set up with the fact that she would make sure that the Department of the Heads and the counselors at the school would address it themselves to keep the anonymity among the students, and so we weren't.
well, I can
Because
stop
we're not
in
supposed
because
to
I
by
have
law
a
ask
grandson
anybody with
going to the
disability is,
program,
so
and
we
I'll
can't
find
do
out.
it.
I'm sorry,
We by law can't ask anybody with a disability is and so on, so we can't do
understand.
it.
I'm not asking.
So
that
we're
question.
limited what we can do.
I understand.
I know the principal, because that's where all my kids went, and Nina Riley, the school psychologist, so I can just shoot them an email. I did ask some of the parents, but they have little kids, the ones that I reached out to, and they were not aware of it. So it just might not be that they're not using that program, so I'll just shoot them an email.
Were you able to talk to Jen Arnold?
I actually emailed her and asked if she could give us an update as to whether or not it's being used and if it's funds. That's not
Mhm.
something. I'm not heard from her.
Okay. So, because then I wanted to know, I had a question about the summer program. Does that include students from all of the town that go to Jenkins? It's a special program at Jenkins for
Yes.
all
All
the
the
kids in
things.
town?
Yeah,
All the
the
kids.
summer program is
All the care-
entirely at Jenkins.
All the caregivers or so on. They
Okay,
can
so that's,
contribute.
that's.
All,
It included that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, all right, so now for the early 2017-18 school year, is that just going to be the special needs students at Jenkins?
I don't know that we moved forward on that one. All we did,
Oh, because
all we
we-
voted on
Was the
last
summer
month
program.
was the summer program. We haven't
Okay.
discussed what we're
Okay.
gonna do going forward in
So can
in
we-
September.
So can we then, on the agenda, take out early 2017-2018 school year? Because I think we're still at the summer program issue.
Right, okay.
I move to do that, am I supposed to move?
What,
To take out
well,
A,
maybe I should put in a B and say, talk about the 2017-18
School year starting,
program.
upcoming year.
well, we have.
Because we haven't done it yet, but we're going to.
Well, why don't we need to do it now? We haven't even spent any money yet for it. We
That
gotta
doesn't-
see if it works. That's the whole point, is to see if it works.
But we haven't had an opportunity to evaluate it during an effective school year. I mean, if you're evaluating the summer program, that does not equate to the school year. We didn't get it in place in time to evaluate it at the end of 2017
Exactly, yes.
year. So,
And the problem last time was the fact that we didn't have the funds in place to start off. And when we try to implement this or apply it, it was the fact that have it ready or earmarked for the upcoming year also.
so,
Is that what you're trying to say, Lauren? To have some money earmarked for the upcoming?
well,
year?
we didn't even talk about earmarking.
Yeah, because
we
we
don't have.
tabled everything.
Pardon?
I think we tabled a lot of stuff. at the
We
last-
tabled anything further because we were just talking about using up the budget that was available for the 2017 budget. Because as of July 1st, we're in the 2018 budget. So we wanted to earmark $1,800 of the 2017 budget for the summer program. That fund could not be used for the 2017-18 school year.
Exactly. Until we find out what's remainder from the.
Well,
summer
no, that's
program.
gone. I mean, we don't have that money available anymore. Now we're in the new budget year. So we have to see what we have available in the budget now for 2018.
Well, it's $5,000, correct? For one-
500?
One account? $5,000 one account?
$5,000 for
And the other?
the line item, yes.
And the other accounts
Is
what?
that for the both?
3,000 plus, but that's for, to be used for disabled persons. Whereas the 5,000, that's the gotchas, that's the transportation that we're using.
Okay.
That's the transportation.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
We have $5,000 allotted to us each year.
In
July
total?
1st. Yes.
Okay,
So from that $5,000, the Gotcha summer program, we were hoping to,
but that was out of last year's, right?
that was out of last year's.
Okay, so
But then we have 5,000,
this year,
This
as
year.
of July 1st,
right.
yeah.
So,
Is all of that to be used in that capacity? I don't mean
No, we
Miss
haven't
Gatra, but don't we have two funds?
we have $5,000 fund, we
Mm,
have the handicap parking fine fund,
Okay,
and that's 3,000
yes,
plus.
okay, okay,
And that was the money we used for the art supplies
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the disabled
okay.
people.
The reason the commission gets the $5,000 in the line item as a budget item, which is a small amount used for trainings for members and things like that, the large majority of it was intended to go back to the Council on Aging for drivers, for oil changes, for fuel.
They don't want the money.
Well, and that's what I'm hearing, so, I mean, it's.
So
it
we were
sounds-
gonna
so
do
you
the-
were
We
reallocating
were doing
money.
something
Okay.
different with the money.
For
For
Which is still under
transportation.
transportation.
And
right?
training, and training.
Because I don't know how many vehicles the COA has on their own anymore.
Right, and
Well,
it
they're
would
all
be-
through
and it would
Gatra
be
and,
Gatra,
you know.
the Gatra.
Um,
And then we don't even want to get into what's going to happen when the school year starts and, you know, the school department's going to, who knows what they'll pipe up and say, but hopefully they'll let Gatra do the transporting of the disabled kids, so I don't know.
They did
They did.
allow it last year. We didn't
Right.
use it, but they did
Right.
allow it.
Right.
Okay, okay,
Right.
okay. Okay.
So
See,
can I
well-
just interject on that subject? So, if we can find out, if you can find out from Principal Arnold about the use of it for the summer by your next meeting in August, I assume at that point the summer school would be over.
It will be.
And
Yes.
if it is, then I think you'll have a good barometer as to the use of it and get the pros and the cons, such that it will be a baseline for next year. And I think in May, you were talking about trying to maybe expand this to other schools for their summer school program, or if not, at least during the school year. And I think, this is a good year for testing it and getting feedback not only from Jennifer Arnold, but, you folks to say, okay, this is how we need to budget it, both with the school committee or the school side, so that they utilize those funds before June 30th. And that way, if they're not utilized, what happens July 1st is it's an automatic like guillotine, it comes down, boom. Not used, it gets kicked over. Anything July 1st comes out of your new budget. So I think maybe good communication, not from you, but from them. They need to communicate so that they understand that there are funds here for transportation with students, that they need to make sure that they are efficient. And of course, that may mean having to have a discussion with Paul Donlin, the treasurer over on the school side. But we'll work through it. It's a work in progress, and I just want to say it's a great idea what you guys have done, and we'll figure that out. And we'll find out from Jen Arnold exactly, did they use it or not, and if they didn't, why they didn't. Was it a miscommunication on either side, or if it was used, great. Let's see if we can expand it. I would think that's my suggestion at this point.
But it's a pilot program, John, so there's some leeway she was allowed to do for anonymity because we're not supposed to know who's disabled and so on. And that's why
We're not.
we
Not
brought it back.
asking.
I'm not asking that. I'm just
Okay.
saying, I just want to know the use of it. Was it used? Was it underused? Was there a problem? Were there gaps? Whether it's the funding, was it, so that your commission understands how to better implement it. That's all.
Okay.
I just have a question. You said that the funds needed to be used by July 1st, but we requested the funds be set aside before July 1st.
Yeah, and I think.
How does that work?
Well, it's not you're setting it aside. My concern would be the school department being somewhat delayed in billing it. And if they
Right,
didn't bill
right.
it
I
till
mean,
July
they
or
haven't billed
August,
anything.
it may not, I think there's an automatic cutoff for July 1st. Now,
Oh,
some bills that come in after the fact, during the special town meeting that we have in the fall, usually reflect those bills, but we have to allocate it out of the new budget. And what happens is anything that's not paid at effective July 1st gets kicked over as free cash into the new budget. So that's why I say to you, it's a matter of accounting, but I think for your purposes to ensure that the money's spent in the fiscal year, it may be some communication, but you're starting this process, you're doing a great job. So that's why I say to you, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it
Okay,
out.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Ultimately, what you want them to do is bill you by the June 30th date.
Right.
You
Bill
pay
Nancy,
them
Bill
with
Nancy
the
Holt.
proper fiscal year money.
right, right.
And it's just,
And
communicating with them on how they do it.
they may not be able to do that, considering they won't know who's going to be using it after June 30th.
Yeah, I think moving forward, we need to have the correct.
That's
why it's a pilot program,
We're
working on it.
backloading.
Right.
You're
Work in
talking
progress.
about right now, we're backloading it, but, in the future, as of July 1st, you're gonna be able to know right out of the gate, so much is being spent of that amount of money, and so, we'll figure that out. It's just
All right,
a-
okay.
accounting issues.
John, did you want to mention the discussions you've been having with GATRA about expansion and possibly moving
GATRA.
Scituate to a hub?
GATRA is looking into making Scituate a hub, which means that there'd be more routes available. Not technically would Scituate have to pay for it, but there would be like a hub where it's a target area where routes would come from Scituate and go into Norwell, Hanover, and so on. And we'd get a free ride to go to and back from there. We would pay for the service in regards to the $1.50, but we wouldn't be paying for the whole thing of the bus itself. They're looking into that. That's been exposed, and I've been asked to present that right now so people have an idea of what's going on. They're ready to expand. They also want to set up certain kind of bus stops with benches and so on that they're willing to pay for, like at Cole Parkway and other areas like a town hall, the library and these places. That would have to go forward with other areas. So that's a big plus.
It definitely, it would be a huge plus if we get the hub here. I mean,
Is
you
there-
could have,
Is any of the other towns around us, are they a hub? There's no
Closest
hub?
one is Plymouth. So there might be a thing between back about the Plymouth, because I'm a voting member for the Plymouth Gatra and the Attleboro Gatra, Taunton Gatra.
And is Gatra ridership in Scituate up? I mean, last I.
It has been coming up, yes.
Okay, last I heard it was, I struggled, but just because I don't think either people would take advantage of it or do it, but.
Well, some of
but it is
the,
rising.
some of the teachers are using it for events and so on, and some children now are trying to have like parties where the alternate route where 6 kids would like meet up and go to the house and get a different ride back or to the movies and so on. So they're implementing certain things back and forth because they get more confidence. Because before, it had the bad press where people think that they weren't trained or certified, but the Gatra bus drivers are trained in advanced CPR.
Yeah,
and things
Yeah,
like
which
that.
I'm just
So-
wondering if the ridership has increased.
Yeah. Linda from the Council of Aging in her report has been saying it's been going up all the time.
So does that have to go through, to the Board of Selectmen, the Gotcha to being a hub? Do they need to get permission from the Board of Selectmen?
They have to ask for the president. They're looking into it. They're planting the seed right now. They're ready. They would
They're-
like
they're
Scituate to be
looking.
the target for the hub because it's more in the
Oh, I
middle
understand,
between
but-
Cohasset and other areas.
Right, I understand, but do
And-
they have to get permission to be a hub here?
Of course they
Yes.
All
would.
right, okay, so they'd have to go to the, I just didn't know. Okay, thank you.
No,
Can I just interject there for a second? One thing that John mentioned, which is something I mentioned to the board, which is that, there should be some kind of like designation, shelter for various stops at certain locations. And I think if that comes to fruition, the question's going to be, how do we capitalize that? Because I can't get it through CPC funds, it's gonna have to come through the capital planning program. But the bottom line is that if that's the case, that's something to make sure that, the structures are accessible.
is that something that Gatra was
Gatra mentioned
wanting
be-
us to do?
be-
Or
no.
they
They're
would do?
willing, they're willing to pay for their own bus stops and assemble them back and forth. They want to make sure they're ADA compliant. They don't want any headaches and they want to make sure that.
So,
That I'm not
we wouldn't
aware
have to
of.
go
What
through
I'm saying
capital.
is- What I'm saying is, I proposed to the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Selectmen is thinking that we need to have some locations that are designated stops. There are a number of them, but
right.
that are going to be sheltered. And so that's something that we're looking into. I'm not aware that Gatra is going to contribute any financing for it, but what I'm saying, if the board and the board's able to start designing those things with the DPW, then, obviously that's something that the
Okay.
Board of Selectmen really should take a look at to make sure that they're accessible.
Yeah.
Okay. Seawalls and beach entranceways, it's still here. I don't know that we need to keep it on the agenda.
Well, the wall's still being constructing. When they're done with the wall, where the opening comes in, would be where other committees would put either a walkway or a path in to make sure it's ADA compliant. Until they're done with the construction as to what they implement between that opening,
Right.
that's still undetermined yet.
So is that something
Have
we
you gone
need
to the beach commission meetings lately?
No, just when she had come here, the lady had come here about the rollout.
That was Nancy
Okay.
Fay.
Okay, yeah. All right.
So,
I'll talk to Nancy Fay again, see if anything else going on.
okay, but nothing right
Is that
now.
okay with you? Or with
Yeah,
Nancy
that's
Fay?
fine.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I think right now they're not really doing anything.
Well, they are putting down the,
Well, I
The
mean,
boardwalk.
they've already done that.
okay, all right.
But their proposal is to continue all the way down to the lighthouse and all the beaches and.
Okay.
Okay. I think the follow-up art project, isn't that all done?
Yeah.
Take it off the agenda?
It's, no,
It's almost all done, well, it is, I mean, all the groups are submitting their artwork to MOD, and I'm just waiting for the pictures of the artwork from one of the groups, so I've got one, and Elaine's gonna post it on the COD
Website.
website. I've written a little write-up about how the groups have, that we funded the artwork, the supplies for them to create this artwork, and they submitted it to this
to the
it's called
MOD.
for art, and I've asked Lorraine Devon if she can post it on the Scituate website. She said she would. I just need to get those final
Okay,
pictures of the documents.
so that
we
should
can
probably
take-
be
we
coming
can-
up
Yeah, we could, I mean, we don't
Well,
still need that.
if,
I mean, we could
if
just-
we'll
we can
follow
do-
up and say we did it next month,
That's fine.
okay?
The person who's running it was eagerly, because I told him about the story that the commission was helping to fund,
Oh, it's great,
The,
it's great.
fund.
Rita,
use some of the
Rita
handicap park
D'Annunzio,
funds to
right?
fund- Yeah, Rita.
Yeah.
She was eagerly awaiting their submission. That was a couple weeks ago, so I'm assuming that.
I think she would have
Makes
gotten
sense.
them by now.
Okay.
I'll make
I'm
sure.
sure
One of them was
Sure
for
she
my
has.
grandson.
She's just been nervous that, she was looking for like hundreds and hundreds of artworks.
Oh, I don't know
I'm not
that you
sure
were
how many
getting,
have been-
no.
No, they're
Not from your group, but
only, they're
from the
only like
state.
8 and 5, maybe.
Yeah, there were
Yeah, I think you
definitely.
sent me an email with a couple good pictures of
Yeah,
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Was one of those your grandsons?
I didn't see the most recent ones
Okay.
from the school.
Okay.
The initial ones from the school did not include his.
Right, okay. You know, it's a great, I mean, it was great for the kids. They loved it. They loved it. They loved
Maybe
it.
something like the Mariner might be interested in doing a little write-up with that. 'Cause I
Yeah, we
think
could
That
do
would
something
be
like that
nice.
once we get the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
thought
think
was
for
really
that though,
nice.
we need to contact
The parents.
school, well, the school and Local Responsibility to let them talk to the parents. See, I wouldn't, I don't know how, that's touchy.
Right.
We could do a blurb for the Mariner like we've done in the past and say we helped supply funds for
Right.
commission, contributions to the, not contributions.
Right, but wouldn't it be great if we could post the pictures with the parents' permission on, I don't know if we can post them on the website. I think we'd have to get permission from the Scituate Public Schools and
Do we?
Road to Responsibility.
I think you're hitting on something, I think it's fascinating, and that is that some kind of, I know this was through a grant through the state, I think, right? Is that
Yes.
Well,
No,
it's
the
the
project.
state is,
Project.
yeah.
That's right. But I think you're hitting on something that, maybe a fun project for the COA, COD would be to do kind of like an art in conjunction with the Scituate Art Association with anonymity with students, but to do like almost an art display to some degree. And
Well,
think
I
about
tried
doing
to
that
get-
annually or every other year and ask participants, students of all ages, again, permission of the parents, but again, they would be anonymous if that's fine, to have an art show.
Well,
I
I
think
had
it'd be
asked
cool.
the Scituate Art Association and the Scituate, if they would, if they would submit things to this call for art, because it could be anyone, it didn't
Yes.
have to be a disabled person, it
That's
could be
what I think.
anyone.
I think that would make sense.
But they chose not to. So, and you had to be over 18 to do it.
I used to mention this because 20 years ago, there was a gentleman when I was on the Metro Boston, UCP of Metro Boston, I had several policy of Metro Boston as well. And there was a gentleman who had CP who was a photographer, and because of in his chair, the angles, he took all these unique pictures, photographs from different angles that you'd never seen.
Right.
And sadly, the poor gentleman passed, but I have his picture because he took one of himself, and it's been in my desk for the past 20 years because I just thought it was, he was very clever, and I've always thought to myself it would be nice to have something like that. You guys have mentioned this, and I'm like, again, these are fun projects
Oh, I
in,
think it'd be
great.
in addition to the serious things that he has to be accomplished.
Yeah.
It's a good
I
thing.
think it'd be great.
It would be.
Okay.
And I think you can get the culture. Arts District down Front Street, it's something to think about in the future.
They did have, at the high school, they had a community breakfast before school let out. And they had the pictures displayed at the breakfast, plus in another room, because there were so many of them. But it was all displayed for anybody that they wanted to see them and to, ask what they were referring to. My grandson's was Spider-Man. So whether that had anything to do with, diversity, well, I suppose that's diversity, but it's what he thought of.
You've got the
Breaking
venue at
barriers,
Pier
it was
44.
breaking
Right,
barriers.
right.
You have the venue at Pier 44 for any type of I say art show. Art is very broad, so it doesn't have to
Well,
be.
we could maybe
Cool.
have some on display at the Accessibility Awareness Day.
Yeah.
We could ask the,
Yeah,
could ask
Not
the
a bad
people
idea.
that did
yeah,
the artwork.
yeah,
Put
that on the list.
yeah.
Blueprint review for Countryway. I think we talked about that before.
Yes,
You don't know we don't know where it is, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's right now. There was a complaint going through when they tried to get a variance, and
Okay.
first variance was done.
Forum, November 4th.
Yes, we have a date.
Get the date out.
Yes, November 4th.
What is it Saturday?
It's Saturday, November 4th, and 11 to 1, is it definitely going to be? 11 to 2.
I think
11 to 2 at the community building.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we're.
That's not the community, that's Pier 44.
Right, well,
Right.
we have
Pier
to.
44. Just don't have the Pier 44 food.
Well, to Google, it isn't
Yeah.
anymore, because
I
if you
know.
search Pier 44
It
for like
doesn't
directions,
come up. I
it-
tried to
there's like
find
one article that's up
pictures
there,
of
but-
Pier 44, because everyone always rate, when you run into somebody over 70, they are.
I used to love it.
Yeah, so I've never been there.
Oh, it's awesome, it was awesome.
You're not over
It's-
70.
it's-
I
It's,
grew up in Norfolk.
it's not that long ago that it closed, it's not, it's not
You look
just
good,
over
you look good.
70.
Right, but if I run into anybody, older, it seems, as soon as I say that I live in Scituate, they go, oh, my favorite restaurant, I say, okay. So, but yes, so I think it's gonna be great, we're working on notifying all the different, community services in the town, such as Force Foundation, we'll have a table, Mass Commission on the Blind, special situation. Well, in
Are
other
you
words,
reaching out to them?
we're reaching out, so hopefully I'm sure they'll send somebody over.
To which, did you say?
The blind.
Oh, the,
Mass
yeah,
Commission
right,
on the
right.
Blind, yep.
MS
And
Society.
the Force Foundation's already confirmed.
MS Society's gonna do something too?
MS Society, we also are looking into the fire department.
Talk to them,
Yeah,
they're on board,
police.
they're very excited. In fact, you will be, he said, what I want people to know, the deaf people, we have smoke detectors for deaf people, but the deaf people in Scituate aren't aware of that. So he said, I think that's gonna be the perfect forum
Yeah.
to let
Mhm.
them know. So, and he said, and he would wanna talk about the TTY.
Yeah, that we couldn't figure out what
Right.
stood for.
Streetlights, yeah.
So he was very excited about that, so we've got them on board.
And the police gonna,
Well, I left a message, I'm sure they will. And then there's also there's a social worker, the head of the social work services of Scituate,
in town hall, or?
Laura Minion.
Laura
Laura.
Miata.
Laura Minion.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
she's from the Council on Aging too, she's
I left her
part-
a message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to let the Council on Aging know, because we may want them to
Sure, I'll
say
let them know
something?
whenever we,
Well, you'd have to, I want them to save the date.
well,
Like,
I
we
will
don't
do
know-
that, I will do
yeah.
that, yeah.
And we don't know we haven't decided how we're gonna have the tables, but at least.
Yeah, I will let them know.
And the NICE committee,
The what?
the NICE.
The Knights of Columbus?
No, that's.
Oh, the nice, yeah, neighbors including and celebrating everyone.
Right, that one.
I will let them know,
Let
yeah.
them know, and maybe, we haven't spoken about it, but we might want a table for them, so they can explain what they do.
That'd be cool.
You know, that would just be
Yeah,
nice.
I may need, I'll check with them because we're not doing so well with our projects, but
Okay, but that's just.
I'll let you know.
something. And,
And we also, Etrusco to give out information.
Yeah,
On medical equipment, and then we're gonna have the high school students help out and volunteer for community hours.
Fantastic.
The community hours, and then we're gonna have some entertainment for the for people that come with their children, probably some face painting for them, or some coloring, and somebody to play, the guitar, probably Matt Brown.
right, and so the kids, the high school kids, which I really like this.
Which
they're
he
gonna
doesn't
get
know,
community
he watches
service
this on TV, he may.
To help with the cleanup and setup. That's what we want high school kids to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They get
yeah.
community service.
Yeah.
That would be,
Okay. Awesome. That
and
sounds
we've got
great.
We're trying to think. Special ed department, the library, they want to do this.
So the high school is involved, I mean,
I haven't talked to them yet because they're out of
Yeah.
school, so I don't want to
Yeah.
talk to them.
But you think
will.
they will be, yeah.
Oh,
I would assume that they would be very
Tammy
involved,
Rendell
yeah.
would love that.
Who?
Tammy Rendell, the guidance, head of the guidance department, to community service.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, she would.
okay, cool.
Jeff,
Sounds awesome.
At one time it was kicked around that maybe you could come in with a presentation on
Do-
the emergency preparation kits, maybe donate a couple more, that's possible?
We can figure out the topic, we have plenty of lead time, so.
Oh, for November 4th?
Yeah,
Yeah,
November.
and Chief Murphy is going to, he's going to present too about, we think, we're hoping, about this.
Our functional assessment form.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why he's coming in to talk about why first responders need this information and to please fill it out.
And we can,
So,
we can piggyback off that or
Right.
complement that somehow.
Right.
I'm sure.
So that's-
I'm sure
that's-
somebody can-
and I know that Elena Chevry said he's out right now, but she said she'd get to him and I know that we're in
All right.
touch with us.
Sounds great so far. Good
Yeah.
job.
Oh, and there might be food.
Oh, there was another thing I
What?
wanted to,
Because whenever you have food, people come.
Could I interject to?
Where are we having this?
It's gonna be at the community Scituate.
Oh, that's right, she said that, I'm sorry.
Also known as, or formerly known as.
P94, that's why I get
You know,
confused.
Department of Public Works, Kevin Cafferty.
Yeah.
There should be an invite for the DPW,
Okay.
so that there's a representative to understand if there are problems, they have an idea, and not that they don't, but they should.
Okay,
You know, like impediments and things like that, and that might be something to think about. I don't know whether it's worthwhile to think about, you know, the coastal coalition with respect to storms, people who live in harm's way. That's another thing to consider, only because I know that they were pushing for trying to have during storms signs put up so that police and fire understood where people lived, if there were problems, if they had oxygen, things like
Right.
that. Just a thought, but at least
That's a good
it
idea,
depends on
because
how
they
far you
could
want to
just have
expand
a
this, that's
table
all.
and have their own, if somebody wants to be involved in that and be
Right, right.
on their list,
That's
they,
all.
yeah.
Okay, so coastal
Okay.
coalition and Kevin,
And that would say Dave Paul, if you want to get in touch
I
with him,
just-
happy to.
you can, I just emailed him about the ramp, so he just,
He's pretty tuned and.
he fixed it, yeah.
The next one segues
So-
perfectly here into the functional assessment form.
yes.
How's my plan?
What is it? For access and functional needs assessment for persons who require special accommodations in the town of Scituate. I don't know if anybody needs copies. I put,
Yeah, I'll take one if there is.
yeah, there's plenty, because I hit print one and I got 7. John, do you need one?
If you don't mind, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like you got.
Mine doesn't have
It's not that
reference.
yours.
What's your
That's-
notes?
I thought I got rid of the
Oh,
Which is
privacy
the same
thing and it
as
didn't work, so
okay.
Yeah, no,
what I did didn't work, so I still had to copy it.
Okay.
Do you have one?
you had it, man.
Oh.
Email.
I know I did, but,
Yeah,
okay.
I forgot my extra notes.
Very good, very good, very good.
Okay.
All right, we have, we've brought this before the commission several different times, and we're very confident that this time is the final. No, Jeff, you gotta leave.
I'm just taking a deep breath. Just, there's a couple, it's just real for,
Yep.
it's more for layout, a little bit for looks. and A couple of things just need to be.
Okay, but so just so you know,
Mm.
they can do whatever they want for layout. We just did this based on something else.
Definitely, and I understand that,
Okay.
that effort's fine. So
Okay,
There was a, can I just go through my, can I go through the list?
go right ahead, Jeff.
So for the first one, and yes, I know it's a long title, but access and functional needs assessments for persons who may require additional assistance during times of emergencies.
You want the word "may" in there.
May,
No,
and instead of special
additional.
accommodations, there will be additional assistance in times, during times of emergency.
May and
I
special.
know it's a long term, but it's what's being used.
May require and special, what?
So, so on the second line, for persons who
May require.
remove special accommodations.
Oh, remove that.
Yep, and add additional assistance during times of, during an emergency.
Ah, okay.
And then once they read that, they're gonna
It's-
stop.
Well, no, but it's, you know, they,
No, that's
hopefully if
good.
they're finding this,
Yes.
they know why they're there and what they're doing.
Additional assistance during times of emergency?
During an emergency, it can be, you can shorten it up a little bit.
Thank you so much. Okay,
All
right, what else?
The town box that we have on the first column underneath the apartment unit floor, do we
Yeah.
need that because it's Scituate? I'm just
I
curious.
agree.
There, well, there's a different zip code for our town.
Well, no, zip code's fine, but it's,
I know.
but this is for Scituate, right? This isn't for our
So
town.
take, it's town of Scituate, so take it out. Yeah, that
I'm
makes
just
sense.
thinking, I mean, just a thought.
Yeah, I mean,
But we still leave zip code in,
Yeah, because you can, yeah.
because there are several zip codes in town. Okay.
And they're gonna have the address and stuff like that.
All right.
That's what they really need. The contact information right below that, I know you have a star phone number is required, and is it just one phone number, or can they, so here's the issue, with 911 and all of that stuff, the 911
Landline.
system really relies on a landline
Got a problem?
until the advanced 911 stuff, but that's not rolling out yet to every single community yet, so,
It's not out
so
here.
do we want, I mean, what does the fire department or the,
well, that's why
whoever's
it's
doing
gonna
this?
go through the fire department at the end. So the fire department will make, after the lawyer sees this, will make the final decision on what exactly they want.
Okay.
So I was talking to Chief Deputy Elliott yesterday, and he said what they're hoping to do is that the cell phones, when they dial 911, will automatically connect them to where they are.
Right.
But they're not there yet.
No, because right now what ends up
Right.
going, it goes to Framingham or Marlboro
Right.
to the state police,
Right.
then they dispatch it to local.
Right, right, so
And-
he said, yeah, so he said, it's a landline now that they use,
Yeah.
but they're hoping.
Yeah, right, and it's gonna roll out, they're doing pilot programs now.
Right. So you would need them all now, and then they can take it out whenever, when it's not.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So I was thinking at least one phone number is required, but I don't know if you want, I mean, if that's proper terminology. It's like contact information, and you have a star saying phone number is required, but I'm like, at least one's required, right? I mean, you're not requiring the landline.
No.
Well,
I mean, you technically need to at this point.
If there is a landline, we need that.
So maybe we need a little bit of instruction here, just saying,
If landline.
if available, use landline, if not, use cell phone. I mean, something to that effect. Because landline is how everything ties in when the dispatch
But
gets.
then you have people that only have the text only, and then you have the TTY.
And
So contact information, if landline, please write no. Something.
Please use, please
yeah,
identify.
please use. I mean, it's,
Please.
reason being, the dispatch, when they get the 911 call, right now it's so archaic that there's a small little box that pops up telling them that, like a code, like M for mobility, D for deaf, B for blind, no descriptors, or the enhanced one will do that, I think. But they're
So-
tied to landline, but they eventually will go to cell phone. So maybe let them make that determination.
Right.
Maybe let the people who are collecting this
Yep.
determine that,
Yep.
so.
And just put it all in and let them take it out now.
You have the emergency contact on the second column.
Yep.
I think it should be in case of emergency contact, the ICE people, get that term out there, the ICE, in case of emergency? The ICE contact? Or
I don't
no?
know,
Is that
in the
not?
school, at the schools, they'd say emergency contact. Oh,
Okay.
however,
No, it's, I'm just offering suggestions, that's all I'm offering. It's emergency I mean, it's fine, it's short, it's to the point, they may tell you something.
They might end
They
up
might,
changing.
if they want,
Yeah.
if they want to change it, they can change it.
Right.
Rest of them, I don't.
Maybe the ICE calls in on the cell phone.
Let's see. Okay, so on the I Live page,
Yep.
and I lost the numbers.
That's two.
There's language and there's language. So if you look in the first column, kind of in the center, there's language, what language you prefer.
Yeah.
And then there's the same exact box, which is good, down below. So we just need to remove it, that's all. So it's not,
Oh, it shouldn't be there.
you were close, very close.
Good.
And you
Very
want to
close.
take that out.
It's gone.
Under sensory,
It was supposed to be
It
gone.
was-
Sensory, you're right there.
under sensory, and so we have legally blind, which I think legally blind is going to fall under the visually impaired category, which maybe it's visually impaired, legally blind, and then there's complete blindness or completely
Well,
blind.
I'm visually impaired,
Right,
but I'm not legally blind.
right.
But in an emergency, you don't have your glasses,
But are
you
you-
can't find them, and you like.
Well, I can find, I can just kind of read without the glasses.
Well, but that's
That's reading.
but that's not necessarily what this is trying to capture. The fact that if you, like, if my contact falls out, yes, I can't see anything either. But I'm not necessarily seeking additional assistance during an emergency for that. What this is really is if someone does have low vision
So
or
you want visually impaired slash,
legally blind, because you wouldn't be completely. I mean,
Okay.
I know legally blind is going to be for complete blindness as well. But I think if we then put complete
completely,
And then
either
they don't
completely
have
blind.
anything. They just do
Well, it's visually impaired slash legally blind, then I think where legally blind is now, it could be completely blind or
Why does
no
it have to be
vision.
everything?
Well, because it's gonna be,
Well, then it
the
would
visually
be
impaired
set-
implies that there's some sort of limitation. It may not be complete blindness, but it might be low vision or I need large print or things like that. The completely blind is actually gonna help the first responder understand that, look, they're not gonna be able to really see anything, so they're gonna need a little bit more assistance than the person with the visually impaired
Okay, so
designation.
how about then just visually impaired, and the next one?
Legally blind. Or completely, that's actually what I had, but I was trying to soften it a little bit. But I will go with that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That make sense?
It does, I'm kind of stuck on the term completely blind, but that's just a
Well, no, I know,
semantics
and
thing.
Oh, you want to say legally? I mean.
No.
because
No.
I will say, people
Or
who,
just
people who
blind.
are qualified under, like, who have low vision, not just, that can't be corrected by corrective,
Mm.
That's
Devices.
blind.
they consider, they will say I'm blind.
All right, so
but
why don't we just
what-
say blind? Visually impaired or blind?
Yeah, I mean,
No?
I think,
I
no,
mean,
no, I,
maybe Chief Murphy, that
Right.
would say what, because my oldest son is blind, and I've never heard, we usually.
and completely blind,
Yeah,
right, I
yeah.
haven't, we've not used that term, I was
Well,
trying
it's
to
the same as deaf,
differentiate.
because it's deaf or hard of hearing, so,
Right.
but I mean, I see what
Then-
you're
then-
saying, though, it's for, to,
Then do visual
Help.
impairment and then blind. Let's
Okay.
just do it that way.
or I
Right,
think
keep it-
ask Chief Murphy, because it's really to help them.
So I
Yeah.
think we have to note on our little thing, or little
Sorry that
paper,
I'm making
we
these
have to
changes.
say, this, please review.
Oh, yeah, when we give it to them.
And we give it to
Yeah,
them.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
The only other thing would be, I think the only other thing, I think I'm almost, yeah. Under other assistance,
Mm.
I use a service animal. Do we want to include emotional support animals as well?
It's a service animal, isn't it?
No.
I'm just,
It does, it's not a service
no, I know it's not. I know it's
I know.
not, but,
animal.
but they,
It
I
is
mean-
considered a service.
well, it's not,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
in,
Yes,
Not
you
legal.
can get
Not
it.
legal.
hang on. There's a significant difference between the protections the service animals
Right.
provided than what emotional support animals are provided. I think in a sheltering situation or an emergency situation, they should know that that's just not my pet dog, that's my emotional support animal, which I know they're not offered as much protection, but I think they should know that it's, at least it's been noted somewhere. So it's basically, I use a service animal slash emotional support animal, and I had name and breed, if that's, I'm trying to remember the right term for, like, dog, cat, bird. Is that breed, or is that something different?
Well, that's true, because somebody,
Because-
if you saw this, somebody could go into a house in emergency and be looking for a dog,
Right.
when it's a cat. I never thought of
Mhm.
that.
No, right, that's just what I'm thinking, is breed the right term for it, or is it, I mean,
Yeah, I think it is. And
I mean,
Breed, or you, cat, dog.
Well, you could say, if you say breed, you could say mutt, or a mixed breed, you would know what was
right,
dog or
but
cat.
parrot, would that fall under breed? Is that a breed? Or is that? I
Animal
mean,
type? It's more direct,
I
animal type.
guess.
Animal type.
Right, I know, but
I'm
that
glad
might be,
you had
that
it.
might be
I
too
didn't
big of
wanna
a
touch
word
that
too,
one.
so
Yeah.
I'm just,
Oh, I'm just gonna check my.
I would just put, keep it so I use a service animal, and then add a
Type.
little box, type of
and
animal.
name. Type of animal name.
Type and name, okay.
So I use a service animal slash
Right.
whatever animal.
Emotional
an emotional
support.
support animal, but I mean, it's,
An emotional support animal
no,
can't be given the same accommodation as a
What
service
happens
animal.
if it's a
Actually, no.
python?
Actually, no.
No.
Actually, they are.
That's emotional support?
Yeah, so,
You can't.
For whom?
so,
Just something else.
I'm leaving, I'm not gonna
Shop for the
provide
small
any
horse,
services to
only
that
dog,
person.
small horse, and a mechanism.
not to go too deep into it, but emotional support really plays out in the housing setting.
Right.
So,
Well,
because
you know, I'm
that's where
just
they're,
going in
but,
airlines, because it will work on an airline if you have them certified. Because I have to pay $150 to take my dog on a plane, because he's neither.
in the Air Protections Act, that's a whole different animal into itself. But the service animal is truly a dog or a miniature horse, and that's what you can bring out in public, to public meetings, to the movies. Emotional support animals, so that python that, or the hedgehog that people do have as emotional support animals, they can't bring those out in public. But I think first responders should know that it's either a service animal or emotional support animal, so that if they're reacting to a fire in the house, or if they're reacting to a medical emergency,
Throw the python in.
they
Yeah,
may
they might.
they may help with the emotional support animal, or get animal control there to help with the animal so that they can at least address the person.
Fill this out, you know?
You might see this and go, are you kidding me? I have to start looking for people.
And we can have, and maybe that spurs a conversation with them.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to deal with the emotional support animals, which
Yeah.
make sure the animal control officer is known or knows that this is something that could happen. Under mobility, I had, instead of mobility vehicle, I had mobility device, but it's just, that's semantics, I think. Again, I had a little extra time this
I was gonna
morning.
say, you must have some extra.
Yeah.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
I was on a very boring conference. Oh, that's on tape now. I was I wasn't involved too heavily in the conference
Okay.
call, so. Last page, nope, that's not it. Assistance required. There's a box there that's empty, and I think that was meant for other, but, assistance required. I transfer to a shelter, I require assistance, check all that apply. Do you want to put bed there? I mean, because you then will discuss below that I'm, I think the term was bedridden, not bedridden, confined to a bed somewhere. Do we
I
want
think
to?
that's mobility. Confined to a bed. It's on the prior page.
Previous page. So, you're asking what assistance they may need. And
Mhm.
depending on the sheltering situation or things like that, they would at least know that they might need a bed that's adjustable just for planning purposes. That if they open a shelter, right? Just curious. So we say,
I think we
using the
had that
toilet,
with
transferring.
I think we did too, because we had the discussion that, oh my God, there's so much in this form.
Yes.
No, I know.
That's why.
No.
Compared to what the form
Okay.
has now, which is like 5 questions,
Definitely. We can remove it. Not necessarily.
because
I
we
mean, I
have
would
it.
assume that when you go to a shelter, you know, a place, you have beds of some sort. And if you're confined to a bed, they'll have their bed with you.
Because that
They're confined
question
to
is
it.
there earlier that you're confined to a bed.
So they're gonna have to take the bed out with them.
Or make
Okay,
sure
no,
that.
that's fine. You know what? They can still gather the same information. If I need assistance transferring from a wheelchair or a toilet, that's going to give them an idea of if they open a shelter and people show up, we at least need this minimum number of, or an idea of how many accessible shelter beds we'd need if that's the case. All right. I think I'm almost done. Under cognitive, psychiatric, neurological, muscular, I put in a box there with a box.
We took that out.
You can look it out? That's fine. I know, I was like, it's a big list, but I'm like, is there something we might be missing? But I don't.
About this thick of others.
Okay, we can remove it. It was just an idea.
I mean, if you think it should be in there, we can add it. I mean, I can add things back.
Well,
I can
because,
take things
there's
out.
new diagnoses every.
Well, you could have the
Yeah.
box
Yeah.
together with a line, so people could fill it in.
Right, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. It was
Yeah,
like a
I
box,
can see
just like,
that.
just
We'll
say
add
other
it.
with
I'll
a.
add another.
I'm sorry.
A box and a line.
Line.
Don't say other, just put the line.
No, say other.
Other, but a line. I won't put a box in there, just a line,
Yeah, that's.
whatever.
And
Okay.
the ethnicity, I was just curious, is that something we need on this form or not? I'm just,
We've gone through this.
okay,
We don't think so,
okay.
but
This is, the information is going to be a Massachusetts database information. Didn't know if they needed this type of information of
Oh, okay,
demographics
okay.
for statistics, so we left it in there.
Okay, and that's why the race is there as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
right, so that's something we were thinking that the lawyer
Might-
would take out.
Yeah, let them do it,
We
yeah.
didn't- we-
Depending on what stats they need and
Right,
stuff like that,
we
okay.
both said we don't, it doesn't matter, but then you're talking language, who knows?
Okay.
When you
So,
go back
sorry, I
to-
was late to the game on it.
Okay, I want to add one thing. When you go to sensory, there's technology has advanced so much that regards to, there are some prosthetics that are charged by an external battery that the person would need in an emergency situation to have how to charge that special battery itself, the battery, and the remote control to turn it on and off.
Don't we have that?
It's,
Oh,
I don't
Not
see
under
that, no,
sensory,
no.
so,
Where's sensory?
My technology is so advanced with my prototype, I have a advanced spinal stimulator that controls my whole spine. And to charge it externally, I have to charge the battery and put a belt on
Under
it.
life support systems, don't we have other electrical needs?
It's not going to hit life support.
Well, it's
Measure
under
pain.
electrical need. It's on
It's
page
on
4.
page 4, yeah.
1, 2, 3. I guess I'm missing page 4. This is my page 4.
Cognitive, psychiatric, neurological, and muscular, it's right above that.
Oh.
I have a battery, a generator backup, other electrical.
Actually, it's page 3. Here's the page numbers on.
Another chance.
And my comments are done, so.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
It's just.
Okay.
John, you okay?
If you can put the word remote in there too somewhere, because people have remotes to increase power and slow it down back and forth, because electrical needs. The emergency backup people had to be looking for this because it caused more person's problems. So we try to add the word
So,
remote.
but the box would say, well, you need to specify what the other electrical needs are.
You
Because it's
say-
not the norm that, because you're a prototype,
So
so.
under mobility, could we put, this has to do with mobility, correct?
Well, it has to
Do with pain. My pain is so severe that it has controls the pain instead of being on all painkillers.
Right, I understand, okay.
It's more like, not necessarily life, but it is a support system.
Yes.
Which, where it falls is good. I think it's just other electrical needs, I think that's,
And then you could.
As it
Right
goes
here,
down in
but
power,
then-
I lose my ability to walk, and
Right.
the pain is so great to talk, and my blood pressure goes to the roof where you've
So
seen what it's
you-
like.
and my hope would be if you were filling this out,
Yeah,
you would be
say
putting
that.
something there saying, I need this because of my.
that's what I
Right,
want to bring
right.
other thing back and forth,
Right.
yes.
Right, and that's what the box is
Right.
intended for. You can put in however many characters you want.
Right, and who knows how they're gonna set it up the phone.
Right, this is not, yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, I will incorporate those changes.
Could we
Yeah,
vote it that with these changes made, we accept it, so we don't need to go that further, so you can bring
Can we
it
do
to?
I think we could, but we need to have it reviewed by more than me and you.
So we need to have the whole board review it, because if
That
we're
we
gonna-
just
if
did.
more than you and I, then it needs to be a quorum.
Well, can you send it to us?
I can send it to the whole
And
group.
then we all just either say yay or
Yeah,
nay.
it's
That's
communication.
fine.
It's communication, you can't.
Mm.
No, we can't do
Unless
that.
it's agenda setting.
Unless
and,
it's-
I mean,
yeah.
I suppose,
All right, we'll bring it
if
back.
there's,
John, in
sorry.
case you're not here in August, how do we get this to legal? Because we're doing this in August.
Right.
So once you have it finalized, let me know and I can get it over to you.
Why-
So I'll
why
just
can't
give it,
we-
send it to you once it's done.
Why can't we just do it?
What?
Why can't we just do it?
Well, I don't know, we just said that we wanted to have,
Right, but that,
But-
we just went over it.
Right, we trust you guys.
I mean,
You did a good job
Yes,
already.
that's
I
it.
You did a good job
Give it
already.
to 'em.
didn't
Just
think
say,
that
you know,
when
I
got
think
it
alterations
printed,
are fine.
I would have said to you, you've got it there twice, get it out. Oh,
there's a
okay.
little bit more than that wrong though.
All right, so maybe.
No,
we'll
and
come
it's
back.
not wrong. It was just some suggestions I.
Right.
All right,
I mean, I've
all
been
right.
doing this
Come
for a
back.
long time, so it's-
Final,
August 9th is the next meeting, so,
final revision.
okay,
August 9th?
that's our next meeting. I will revise it and send it to you, and you can make sure I took things out that I was supposed to and left things in that I was supposed to.
You know, someone could make a motion just to, once you guys finalize it, just accept it and move it on.
That's what I wanted to do, but
I mean, someone could do that without doing a final review. I mean, you guys, I mean,
Oh,
it-
so we could just.
if
send
you're,
it
if you're
over.
Yes,
at times, I don't know
that's
when
it.
this is due,
Whenever we
There's no
want to.
due date.
I'd love to have it ready for.
the
Chief
11-4.
For the 11th.
Yeah.
The 4th.
Oh, wait.
November,
Wait.
so he can talk about it and say this is.
How long
why
does
we
it
need
take for
this.
legal review, John?
You know, I
Talking
mean,
about what?
if you're gonna have it.
2 months?
No, if
No.
you're gonna have a next meeting in September, I mean.
August
back
meeting.
then. No, if you're gonna have it done by the August meeting, I can get it to you by the September.
I see, so then we have it ready to
Then
go.
we can
to
give it to the chief, and then on the 4th, he can present it and say, or before, he has what you want to do.
Okay,
That's the plan.
all right. Where are we in the agenda after 9 o'clock?
number H,
H?
yes.
Oh, the election. Just so that we all are aware, in the board, the board and committee handbook, the elections are to be held after all appointees are made for the annual year, and we only got Jeff, and there are other candidates in the line to be interviewed. So we can't, and besides, Jeff's not even he's
Jeff's there.
confirmed, but not sworn in yet. So, we could look over the Robert's Rules of Order and determine what we want to do when we have the election, but we can't conduct an election until we have all of the candidates on board.
I don't know that there will be more people.
There are more people on board,
Are there?
I believe there
or
are
at least 3 more.
2 people who applied that we are interviewing next, not next week, but the week after,
Mhm.
on Tuesday.
But, okay, I still am making a motion to have Megan become chairperson of this
I
commission.
believe that,
I'm going to say that we have had it on the agenda for 2 times now. We have Jeff here. I know he's not a voting member yet, but we've talked about how we need to move along and get this going, and now it's been on the agenda. This is the 3rd time. And when I first came on the board last year, there were no elections.
the election occurred in October.
No, that didn't occur for that. When I
It was the election, that was when we elected officers in October.
That wasn't because we needed new officers, it was because we needed a treasurer to deal with.
No, it was
We don't
because
have
we
one.
needed new officers. We didn't have officers in all of the capacities. We had a chairperson and a secretary.
And a vice chair.
We didn't have a vice chair. She was vice chair after the election.
No, Megan was always vice chair.
No, she was not. She was secretary.
Officially, I wasn't,
No,
and we
she
didn't,
was
weren't aware
secretary.
of like,
No.
that there was a vice chair or any of that, but,
The board, the document says, elected annually at the first board meeting following the annual appointments or as soon as practical thereafter. The annual appointments have not been completed, so I think your motion is out of order.
I thought the annual appointments were they were done in June.
In July.
Never, when does it go through August and following months?
About 2 years ago, we were delayed in appointing people, so it kind of got strung out. And what we're trying to do is get it done more efficiently to avoid situations where boards, commissions are, shall we say, trying to, select, move forward. So we're trying to do it more expeditiously. I would, it's whatever you folks want to do. and
Wasn't
decide.
the deadline, isn't there a deadline for applying for a board?
There is.
Wasn't it at the end of June?
It is.
Because I had seen, we got a message, we all got a message from Lorraine saying, everyone needs to have applications in by June 30th.
Right,
That's done. So the applications
but they haven't
are
been
in.
all interviewed.
But were the applications in
Yes,
by June 30th?
Yes.
We had to go to the special meetings, be taught by this board for how they wanted these minutes in order to how to do it.
When
We-
is that?
Did you go to the class that
Yeah,
when I did
yes.
that? That's the
Yeah,
class we
it
went to.
says there-
That's
I
the class we
understand,
went
I'm saying, when did the?
I understand it then.
I guarantee you, one of them was
By June
that
30th.
June 30th, because I helped her with her application process.
And but why wasn't that even brought in front of these board of
It's not-
selectmen?
It is, if they haven't been able to,
They haven't been able,
You had the meetings in July.
We
Last
had our
night.
first meeting last night. We interviewed people for the first time last night, and we have a second meeting on the 25th, if that makes sense, whatever.
yeah, that would be the
So I'm
25th.
just wondering,
First.
did these people, all 3 of them, apply before June 30th? That's what I don't know. And if they didn't, you said you have 3?
Well,
If they didn't,
if they didn't, then they wouldn't be being considered. But they're being considered, so,
They are being considered for our, whoever's on our agenda for the next interviewing
Right.
process. We did have last night, or completed 2 weeks from yesterday. So maybe the thing to do would be this. Officially, your first item on your agenda, if I were on your board, because this is every board I've been on, so the first agenda is to a reorganization, and then there are votes taken immediately out of the gate. So, you know, that way, it's official. And then if there's going to be a change of positions, like I'm now the clerk, I wasn't the clerk before, and I've been chairman, I've been vice chairman, I've been clerk, I've been nobody. You know, it's just one of these situations where I put it right on the top, and it's the first official business.
How is it decided how large this commission is? I know it could be
He's
two
at
six.
13.
Well, I hope we're not going to 13.
No, we're not.
Historically, in the
That's
past,
gonna be
we've
a-
had
Well, no,
large,
it's gonna be hard to keep.
So
number of people, it's just very hard to get a quorum. Like that's been the problem in the past when there's been a lot of numbers, so I just didn't know.
Well, see, that's one of the things that we're trying to vet with the applicants so that they understand that there is a commitment here, and the problem you run into is if they join by not showing up, they do create a problem with the functioning of the boards, commissions. So that's one of the things that we're looking at to make sure that, not just for your commission, but also all other appointees, they're not just saying, I'll do it, and then 3 meetings into it, they just don't show up. We'd rather have them resign, because it reduces that quorum
Right.
issue of the members. So, and plus, like with all of you, we try to vet people to make sure that they really want to be involved and enjoy trying to be involved and do the right thing, and, you know, move this forward. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with the other applicants. I think it's 2. And if, you know, I don't know what the board, because we haven't interviewed them yet.
So I just want to clarify, so she's not, so can she make a motion, or do we have to hold off on that?
The way we did in the past is we waited till everybody was here.
And that's what this says.
And that's what was confirmed by
Well, we
Wayne
don't
Devon
know
had
if
the
more
meeting in regards to,
We
we had
know
to
that
be
more people
certified
have
on these
applied. They
classes.
haven't been afforded the opportunity to interview yet, so we cannot conclude that they
I
won't.
don't-
No, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to. It was
I'm caught
absolutely
between doing it this
past.
way and that way as a chairperson right now. There are a lot of things that I get hit with, and I have to be a chairperson. Listen, I have to decide. We agreed to that in the first place, and we can't, when it comes down to the where do I change it for convenience. It has to be, we had to go this thing and sign, say we went to it, and we're going to abide by these rules. Now, some of the things you might agree with, but every committee and commission has to do it. She doesn't agree with the fact this. The next phase you have to do out of order is to see how you're going to elect in the first
Right, and
place.
that's what the rights really
Well,
was.
do you-
And that hasn't been done yet, so you're jumping the field when she's
There were
anonymous, because
multiple
you haven't know how you do it.
processes
There's
that we could
different processes how to do it.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, the
Can you-
possibility
I'm
is
not
that-
ready
from the floor.
Do you wanna do it,
We need to
Megan? Do you
determine if
wanna-
that's
I
how we're
would
going
like
to
to have
do
an
it.
opportunity.
So she wants you to have the opportunity?
But we gotta wait till
Well,
other people come
is it-
aboard.
well,
As a
does it-
chairperson, based on this, I have to say, I have to go by this. I don't want the tension between
We
the
need to
town
wait for the rest of
administrator,
it.
the board of selectmen, that I went out of bounds. After this was mentioned right now on TV, this was mentioned how it's supposed to be done in these things, and because we did in the past back and forth, that's one thing.
Can we
But
pause
now
for a
these are the
second?
rules, we were told to do it this way.
John, can we
Okay,
just
one of
pause for a
those.
second? I think John was actually going to give us a recommendation, so I think we should.
So here's what I would suggest. If you wait until we finish the interviewing process on the 25th, I will ask each of the applicants who are interested that if they are looking to be appointed to the commission, that they are sworn in, completed their review by the date of your next meeting because of reorganization. Otherwise, what it will do is it would bump us over to September. And I think as a commission, what I would say is then immediately the vote would be your next meeting, period. That's it. There's not, the appointments are there. Unfortunately, I know, Jeff, you were appointed. You didn't get a chance because it was one day, but I'm saying those people are going to know that if they want on, they have to get it done because you're going to make a vote officially to reorganize. And then your next meeting is reorganization officially.
And that's August.
Just for clarification, is that 30-day
Those are
thing?
guidelines,
of
John.
No, that's not 30
okay.
days, that's
No.
July 25th to August
Yeah, that's
9th.
not gonna,
So as long as they are selected by the selectmen and they agree to do it,
And they'd be
that 30-day
notified,
training thing for open meeting law stuff doesn't apply, as long as they're,
they'd be notified
Sworn in.
at that meeting.
Here's the thing, you gotta be sworn in, that's the
Right,
law.
Right,
that's
but
The
they
30
would be-
days, listen, just let me finish.
Sure,
The 30-day training is that if you don't, you can be removed by
Right.
the board. Because some people get on commissions and boards, they don't do the training. And they
mhm,
have to understand the conflict of interest, that's what it's all about.
right,
It's conditioned that they get sworn in. Once they're sworn in, they're on the board and commission, but we as a board can remove you if you fail to do it. Because a lot of people don't do it. So the bottom line is this, I would say, they need to be sworn in immediately for the next meeting. Otherwise, your next meeting, you're gonna take a vote. It's irrelevant. Those are guidelines. Those aren't rules or regs. Those are guidelines for people to understand how things function, and that's what those are. So, as I say to you, if that's what you're looking to do, you can take a vote tonight, that's fine, or if you wanna wait, you can wait, but I can tell you this right now, your next vote, this is the third meeting I've been to about reorganization, you can't keep delaying it, it has to be dealt with. Every committee should do it, and I think it's about time that you take a vote on it. So I would say, if you're gonna wait till the next meeting, it's the first agenda item. Whether or not those appointees are officially on, that's their prerogative, they gotta get with the program, because that's what this commission needs to do.
I have a question for you as a board member.
Yep.
When you do the interviewing process, are these candidates notified immediately that they are being accepted to the board, or the commission, or whatever we are?
So
Because I was not.
here's
It
what
took
happens.
several months before I was notified.
Well, we tell you either you can stay for the rest of the meeting when we take the vote, or you can watch us on TV, and then subsequently, but I will tell each of the ones who were on the commission for disabilities that they should wait and see what our vote is. That way you will know, they'll know right away. If that works.
Or they can call the next morning.
Or they can call, but I'll tell them they have to either get, because the next meeting is going to be reorganization, so you have that all set.
Okay.
Just so I'm clear, though, you did say the vote could be taken tonight.
It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
I have two other people that said they wanted to be and they want to have positions. It's unfair to them because when you came on board, we waited for you and Michelle. If we did it for you two, and back then, it has to be
But we
consistent.
didn't wait because.
No, I applied.
We
right
did,
in
but
30
the
minutes.
minutes,
Didn't
no,
wait.
that we didn't have
didn't
the
wait.
election because of attendance and Michelle hadn't been sworn in.
I mean, she can do a nomination from the floor anytime she wants next month. It doesn't matter. You can also change how you want to do it, mail-in. But one recommendation before that if you make a nomination, we all have to vote openly and not have a secret ballot.
That doesn't, that's not in here.
Okay,
It's
I'm
not
gonna
in
put
here.
that, okay? Have to see how you want to get it done. We have to agree how we're doing it.
We're not ha- well, we're
I would
not-
rather agree how we're going to do it and postpone the voting till next month. So no confusion.
I would make a motion that we postpone the reorganization until August 9th meeting, that we have it on the agenda, the first thing of the next meeting, August 9th.
So, let me ask you then. You have
We have a
set it
motion on
up
the
for
floor
two
first.
people to come.
No, actually, there's
Well,
a
no,
motion.
I have no idea if they're gonna make it onto the
Point of
board.
order, point of order.
No
You have a
motion
pending
still.
motion by
Right.
Athena. You can't make a second motion
Well,
until the first motion is taken.
I did say that her motion was out of order.
That's true, but you still have to vote on her motion before you go from there.
My motion
And then
to,
John's saying that you're going
the
to
motion
interview him, so.
to appoint.
Correct,
Yes.
so you got that pending on the table. That's one you have to deal with first. And then you have to go from there.
I'll second Amy's motion.
I vote that it's out of order.
And now, what do I, if I'm,
Well, So the motion's been made,
yeah.
motion's been seconded. Now, it's
Vote.
discussion or call for vote?
They already started voting.
Hmm?
Call
Any more
for-
discussion?
I vote to appoint Megan to chairperson.
Okay.
I say that the motion's out of order. So I disagree.
Hmm. I'd like to open for discussion. I wouldn't, it's okay if, I believe, to have Megan as a nominee, but I would strongly suggest that you make a motion out of order, that you have it open for next, to give Jeff a chance to vote and to get the new member to come on board. To all fairness across the board, because at the last meeting, people came forward and they wanted to do it. You people had to leave early, but you missed that. Now, I wasn't the only one there.
At the
Elaine
last
heard
meeting,
that.
though, we had that person talk for the whole time. That, when they were there, the nurse that helped us
She
with
was
the
there,
form.
she's one of the people
Yes.
that's applying.
No, I know, that was great. She gave us some great information.
And this came in, and I have to be fair across the board. So I'm gonna vote no. I have no problem to amend it and say Megan right now is open nominee for chairperson, but I'm not gonna
So-
vote to make anybody chairperson, any votes for any
Okay,
position
so the
right
vote
now.
right now is 3-2. So the motion carries. Megan is the new chairperson.
Congratulations. We got more to do.
Good?
Is that right, John?
We need to do more, do we have to,
No, that's it.
am I, get rid of the secretary too? Please?
You can vote the other officers, now you have the secretary and,
Treasurer.
Treasurer. So I'd make a
And a
motion.
vice chairperson.
Okay.
So we should do that now?
Yep.
I nominate Commissioner Murphy to be the vice chair.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I'm opposed. I'm sorry, I don't think she's had enough experience.
Any for discussion? Based on experience, do you mean in regards to training for certification or anything, or what?
Pardon?
When you say not trained enough for experience?
I mean, she's been on the board for like 8 months, and I just don't think she's had enough experience. She hasn't even been able to attend the Beachway meetings, so. That's just my personal opinion.
Michelle is a registered nurse with
So
a
am I.
blind son with having worked for agencies.
But the biggest issue that the town has been plagued with is ADA compliance issues.
Well, I
Not
think-
one person that's been here so far has been trained in that. There's Jeff, there's Elaine, and myself. And people come in for problems, they want to talk to the chairperson back and forth first,
Well, I
and they're not
think
experienced.
They want advice, and I think we need to.
They
be
want the
more
correct, most
advisory.
accurate advice, not
And
just
we
your
need- we need
opinion.
to know where to find
And
the
I'm not part of a
advice.
vote, and I'm not, I think the vote's already been done, right? Vote's been,
Well,
is the vote done, because then I'll talk
The vote's been done
about,
as far as the chairperson. I don't think we've completed the one with
Okay.
vice
Well, the
chair.
three of us.
Then I'll
So
be quiet.
discussion,
There's
I can't.
discussion going
Oh,
on.
oh, I see, okay.
discussion.
and I can't, so, because I'm
You
not,
can't discuss.
No.
not yet, I
Be
can, I'll
involved
talk
in the vote.
after, but
Okay.
I can't, I'm not a member.
Well, I think part of what the commission is doing, or what we need to sort of revise, is to be more advisory, and go to people that have the answers. So when they come to us, like those people, the independent that came last
Yeah.
month,
Living associates.
Living Associates, they were very helpful in helping us, they could be very helpful in helping us to help the town do what the town needs to do. Because it seems to me that when we approach the town and tell them, they get their backs up. So, I just think, and I think Michelle is good in terms of advocacy for children.
That's not the point.
You've got,
And
the
in
three of
regards
you are
to-
voting, I'm
To
voting against.
change the
if
whole,
John's voting against, she's still gonna get it.
I see the change of flow that you want more social and like doing. The commission's ability was set up to make sure that we advise information on the town issues, and people approach us. We started opening things more and getting more approachable because the people that you said independent living are certified in training that Jeff's gone to, I've gone to in Elaine. And I've been doing the same thing, and Elaine's been doing in regards to open space laws that these people are talking about. And if
They're
you
also
mention things, that's it.
professionals though, I mean, this is their job, this is what they do, they've had not just a weekend in training or training here and there,
That's
this
not
is.
all
That's not
that
it.
John has
Yes.
had.
Oh, I
Something
understand
like-
that, but this is their job, this is what they do. And not that that's
I've been
either
asked
here
to
nor
join
there
them,
for this
and I decided
vote
not
at
to.
all, but, I do see our role as the commission to be more than just accessible ADA
I totally agree with that.
ramps and slopes and,
And several times I pointed out that I've been burnt out by hearing ramps and things. I want to be more in the transportation and paratransit, which we've worked on. I want to be more concerned about special needs education, IEPs, 504s, which we've been working on with the schools. Other issues in regards to your social meetings format, there's no problem with that, but I want to see how you're going to do it. And we couldn't just throw funds away. So if you have a problem with the way the flow goes, we are supposed to be advisory to other commissions and so on. They expect us to know, not to go to everybody back and forth and wait for a giant turnover. That was the problem. We have issues on here we haven't gone to yet, that you'll get to when I address, was showing that we proposed Bob Bogle, and it hasn't gone yet. But you did vote for this. I would want to nominate Elaine for the chair, vice chair, because she hasn't trained.
I don't know that we can do that. We still have the motion on board. We have to complete the vote.
I vote no. So,
Okay, so Michelle is the vice chair.
No.
Any other nominations?
Do you still want to do the secretary?
I'm gonna have to think about this.
No, it's not.
No, not about the work, just about the way the commission's going. So
Okay,
I got some serious concerns.
okay.
I need to think about it.
Well, I
I
would
will
just,
be able, I'll stay on until
Yeah.
I. reach
This does not take
unless
effect
you
till
want
next
to.
meeting. I am still the chair, she's still the secretary, and she's still the treasurer until after this meeting's over.
Okay.
This meeting's over, she doesn't take place.
What?
This meeting has to be over. The next meeting, she takes position. She doesn't take it over here. I'm still.
Right,
doing
right,
this.
right. You're still the chairperson right now. I mean, she takes over in August 9th. Or, and before, I mean, right after the meeting's over.
Okay. Any more positions available?
We didn't have,
Well, I would know you before.
the police, did we? Are we moving on? Sorry.
well, I just wanted to say, because it is obviously a big change and everything, but I think it's important that we all work together. I think it's always good to have change in any type of organization or business. And obviously, you're very passionate about what you do, and I just want everybody to be proactive. I feel like a lot of our meetings have been, there's a lot of tension. And
Exactly.
it's not good for, our whole purpose is to serve the citizens. And when the citizens come in, and as we've experienced to our meetings, it's very frustrating for them. So I think we have to all work together better. And I don't think any of these changes are anything negative. I don't want anybody to feel like, there's anything negative going on. It's just for us to all work and hopefully have a better flow with moving forward on projects and everything, so.
Anything else? Any more comments?
No comments. Thank
Oh,
We
in
didn't-
regards to treasurer, we didn't,
you. We didn't have the treasurer report on here, but.
No, do you nominate her treasurer?
I don't-
They're gonna vote you in if you wanna do it.
But we didn't. Okay, I nominate Athena to be treasurer
Are
again.
you accepting it?
Yes.
Any
I need a second.
open discussion? All in favor?
Oh, me.
Motion carries.
That was well said.
Oh, thank you.
No, you
I
had,
just feel like
you
there's
had
a
a
lot of
comment to add.
tension.
Well, no,
I don't
all
like-
I have to say is that there are a lot of commissions throughout the Commonwealth. The commissions are made up of volunteers. That's what we have to remember here. While we are appointed and we do represent the town as a board, as the advisory board to the selectmen, we are all volunteers here. So we do need to work together. There's a lot of work that we've been doing. I mean, since I started when I was, and then before me, Bob Tarantino, Paige Tobin, a lot of our predecessors put a lot of work into it, and they struggled to get movement in the commission. There's been a lot of movement, in the past bunch of years. So we're moving in the right direction. I think a shakeup from time to time, and like you had already said, that is a good move. The good thing is, as the chair and the VP, I mean, as an advisory board, we have that luxury of saying we can research it and get back to you. We are not an emergency solver. If that's the case, we need to direct them to 911. We need to direct them to the appropriate authority that can do it. So you've been on the commission for a while now, so you've learned. There's a lot you've learned by osmosis and a lot that you've learned through trainings. And as you had said, we're all professionals here, so we all have our take and what our point of view should be and what our mission is as we serve on the commission. So there's a lot of that throughout the state. Just remember, we're not one of the commissions that get paid. We are a volunteer. So we're going to do our best. And I think mixing it up from time to time can bring different perspectives. So I guess that's it. So we'll see what the new members will bring as well. So.
We didn't have a guest from the police department.
Mr. Bones didn't make it.
Right, okay. National Disability Voter Registration.
Oh, right here. This is called Reeve. John, you might be interested in it because last night it was mentioned by Kathy Curran, ways to get more voter registration. Next week is officially disabilities. They want to motivate nationally, get people with disabilities to get registered. The same position is back. I might have 1 second, John. Give you a page. Could you hand this to John? Donnie?
I just want to say, I just got an email from Dave Paul, who's excited about Coastal Coalition being involved in the November 4th. He'll call me tomorrow, so I'll get him more info.
And what's brought up by Kathy Curran is they're trying to get more voter registration, and they needed input and ideas. And there was a battlement going on, and when people were leaving the meeting last night, I would step out and approach them on disability issues. And right here, when I spoke to Kathy Curran, she was very happy that we're gonna go and do this. And it doesn't matter, we need a table set up at the library to encourage people to vote disabilities, and there are other programs how to do it. This is gonna be a yearly event, so I'd like to have it that we start looking into this more.
What day is this on today?
Oh, next week.
It's a
But
week.
I mean, Kathy Curran committed to a couple of hours, and she recommends the first time spending like maybe 4 hours tops at the library. She taught me how to do the registration forms and to bring them to her. I can teach any of you to do it. If you want me to do it, I'll try to do it one day next week. But technically, it's the whole week of the library.
So
The
we're
issue-
supposed to be at the library next week?
Yes, the issue with the library is the director is on vacation this week. We'll be back till Monday.
Okay.
And so, and I was told by Elaine that she was the second person, have no problem, but then when I went there, the person said, Lorraine Devlin, and the
I'll
person
be
took
happy
me
to go
charge.
Monday.
So, you know, Monday? All right. There were posters that the, Kathy Curran already made up for this.
So we'll stop at the town hall and get the stuff.
But, so it's gonna be a group of volunteers, besides, you're reaching out to
No,
us.
it's just us that are doing the,
You can't be like.
well, it can be anybody else,
Council on
but
I was
Aging.
reached out by the Disability
I
Law
know that
Center.
next week I can't, my husband's on vacation, I can't.
well,
It's volunteer work.
I know it is. I have other, I'm volunteering for the MS Society, so I have that I have to do too. I can't sit there and do that. But can we ask Council on Aging to have people do that? Because they're active. I mean, I know some people that might be willing to do that.
Elaine's active, I'm active, so I do a lot of volunteer work for the Commission of Disabilities.
I'm on the council on aging, I'm on
Can
the
you
council on
ask-
aging, liaison.
Can you ask?
I can ask them, but we don't have a meeting coming up.
Oh.
I can send them an email and see if they have anybody interested to,
Mhm.
So
and I can send the Friends of
asked-
Scituate Seniors.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I must have zoned out there for a small second. Who's asked you to?
Disability Law Center recent every commission of disabilities to approach the libraries for a national campaign where the libraries are set up.
They have handouts, right? They have like things you can leave on like that can be left in the circulation desk or at the Council on Aging or the places. They're actually, DLC is actually asking people to sit in
Yes.
the libraries for the whole week to pass
Kathy
out.
Curran said she'd volunteer to help to go a couple hours because it's
That's
a
a
great
lot.
startup.
It's a lot, it's a big
And
ask.
it is a lot of things to ask.
Yeah.
What if you were to do it at the forum? I mean, this is something that they do annually, then plan it for next year?
Well, this is a national week thing. They wanted to do it this week and get it all going, get all the libraries
No,
going
I
for
know that,
good.
but I'm saying it came at short notice. I'm saying this is something you think about, okay, next year we definitely do it July, but you've got the
We do it-
forum that
the
you're trying to get
disabilities
people
forum,
to
that-
understand, to
yeah.
get Kathy Curran to come and even voting, because that's a major issue,
We're gonna
just
put her
generally.
on the list.
And just say, put it as another
Yeah.
item to say,
Yes.
what can you do? Because you're gonna hopefully draw a lot of people at that point in time. The big issue with this Rev Up issue is, are people going to know to go to the library
Right.
next week? And otherwise, you might have a whole bunch of people sitting around, and they'll be saying, what are you doing here? Well, we're here. You need to be able to get the PR out.
We were going to ask Lorraine Devon to put it posting in the town
On the town website.
website.
And that's not, there's nothing wrong with that, but we post stuff on the town website and people don't go to it. And that's one of the issues we talked about last night with the voting, and that is, how do you draw people to go out and vote? I just think, you have this forum. This forum is going to be your signature for the year to try to push all these issues where people don't fully comprehend that you have this issue with voting, you have this issue with storms, you have this issue with accessibility, you have this issue with the fire and the police. This is such a great opportunity to even ask Kathy to spend the time to go to that, to really, because everybody could be there and be like, that's a good idea, I hadn't thought about that. That's just my suggestion.
I,
Big environment. I already talked to Kathy anyway, and Kathy,
we're going to vote
Something.
tomorrow for my daughter's going to register to vote because she's 18 today. I'm going to tell Kathy, you save the date.
Okay, cool. I will stop into town hall either tomorrow or it's Friday, you only have the day, but I'll, I have to come to town hall tomorrow to return the key, so
Yes.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll, check with Kathy and see what she has in mind, if anything, for next week.
Mm-hmm, okay.
And then I'll get back to everybody.
Yeah, well,
Recent complaints?
one is a Widow's Walk. There was an incident that happened several weeks ago. There was a golf event, and some people fell between the ramp going from the dining area to the, what's it,
The outdoor patio area, porch area.
and we were asked to see if they can put something in there and so on, and the complaint came up that they don't believe is ADA compliant. That being put that way, I've been asked to look at it in Elaine and the commission. And I said to them that I'm willing to talk with a gentleman called Bob Sanderson,
I think he's the golfer, isn't
and
he?
he's interested to sit down and talk, and the members there. When it comes down to looking at some of these evaluations, you have to look how you get into the building and so on. So I'll be looking at first the parking area to make sure it's ADA compliant, the doorway to get into the building, and then to this other area because it's the flow in and out. So these are a couple of things that came on. I did CC Bob Vogel, see if he was doing anything. I haven't heard back. I know he was on vacation and so on, but this was weeks ago.
Okay.
So I would like to see if Elaine will go with me. I'd rather do these things with someone with me to talk, and they do it. Has been trained in CAM training several times, and that's where I stand on that. That's one of the points.
Okay. The other one is, and I think we're planning on going to Widow's Walk next week.
Okay.
The audio enhancement, I think we already discussed.
Discuss that.
Okay.
Upcoming training and seminars. I was also asked by Lorraine Dent, making it official, that we start doing these training courses, and if so, we get voted on to make sure that we're reimbursed. There are some things you have to take into consideration, that since we are a commission, people with disabilities, some are disabled. That means some may need a special vehicle, being a ramp or a lift. Some people not want that person driving the car. Normally they want one person, the group, into one car. I have to make the accommodation that it's kind of impossible, because that would mean we'd have to have some kind of band for people. If you wanted to go, that's a lift or someone in that situation, we don't have that, I suppose. And I don't know if some people want to go to other people, and that's it. So I have to let Lorraine know, based on our commission and needs, it's not a perfect mesh to have us all go in one car. Because you either have someone at home who's disabled or self-disabled, and there's certain things that just don't go normal.
That applies or refers only to payment for transportation,
Yes,
correct?
yeah.
So,
So I think we wait to see how many people want to go, and if 2 people want to go, could they take one car and get reimbursed for that transportation? Isn't that you?
Yeah, but it comes down, like I say, I can't ask you what your disabilities are. Some people might have social issues, some people might want a car that's like high AC, other persons like so based on our personal needs, my thing is, I have high blood pressure and pain. I need to really be in cold areas with high AC. Other members, thank God we're not really older generations, like the heat, and they'd be freezing out if they went with me in my car. These are general kind of areas. So you gotta realize you may have a need, okay? If I have a wheelchair, you use it once or twice a month, okay? I don't like being into it, so I usually travel on those days. But it comes down to I don't have a lift. So if I went in my car, and suppose you wanted to go with me, Could I be able to, if you need to be kicked in back and forth, I don't have that. Is there a lift? I don't have it. Does your car have that? And if your car has that, would you want someone else driving it? This is where it's different criteria. Based on transportation only, okay?
Are we talking
Yeah.
about reimbursement for driving lessons?
Transportation.
Yes.
To and from an educational
But
presentation.
is there a particular one that we're talking about?
No, this
Is
is a
anyone back
uniform.
and
This
forth?
is
There
what
have- there are
has been
exceptions and
suggested to
accommodations
us
made.
that we,
Lorraine asked for this.
Yes.
Lorraine through Tricia through Lorraine or whatever, I don't know, that transportation funding would be appropriated for one car. And the
And the thing is, some people are disabled back and forth. That means, because I may be able to go to a meeting, and suppose Megan goes with me, and she has to leave early.
I
You
know,
need two
yeah.
cars.
I'm
That's
just
it.
telling you, this is getting to be a very long conversation
Yeah.
at 9:40 at night.
Okay.
So let them, we'll worry about who's paying for what transportation if people can actually make the trainings.
Okay, the next
It's
thing
two,
is,
right?
there are two training class things available right now. One is the CAM training. It's $85. That is going to be,
That's,
Actually,
that's for professionals, it's
right, it's 15
us.
for commissions, it's 15.
15, I'm sorry,
Consumers.
15. That
It's 2
is
days.
Right.
It's
2
the
days,
26th and 27th.
in 2 days, and it's in Bridgewater. First time, very close.
West Bridgewater, yeah.
Yeah, West Bridgewater.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've hit that area.
I'm making sure I go to this class, so I'm asking to be reimbursed for that. I have some pamphlets people want to go.
Did you said you copied,
I have copies, people want them, yes.
so if anybody wants to see, have a copy, you can have.
But we have to now make sure people vote on going to our training classes based and forth, because since there are different members here, a lot of you aren't trained here. This is the biggest thing that are hot items with the town, and people are the curb cuts, the doorways, the bathrooms, and so on. You're going on firms, but I recommend the new members get on board. I'm going back to be recertified.
When are you doing that?
September 26th and 27th.
I'm going to several courses, and
Is
you
it
always pick
9
up
to 4
something
thing?
Right,
unique.
okay,
But
Now, the instructor's not that
before,
good,
it never went to 4 o'clock.
okay.
Do they ever offer this kind of training online or? is
So
it
no,
ever like
it's
Yes.
that's a tough part.
Yeah.
It's tough to do 2 full days for working professionals or people who just have difficulty going to 2 full day trainings, but,
Plus, it's a
yeah,
hands-on part.
We haven't shrunk it down. We'll be rolling out an advanced version of that, but again, if you can make it, it's worth it if you can make it. If you can't, obviously, you know,
Mhm.
we send them out to about, for this one, it was over about 1,000 invites went out to surrounding communities. We'll be good if we get 35 to 40 people to actually show up, so, and usually it's a lot of professionals.
When will you be having the advanced ones, have you determined that yet?
No, I'm still running I'm working with Framingham to run a pilot version of it, but it got pushed till October, so now I'm gonna have to roll it out in 18, in spring or early 18. But I need to do the last pilot version of it,
Okay.
but it's obviously open. The advanced training would be open to people who've attended
This,
that 2-day training, so it's kind of a seller point to it.
okay.
The other thing that you were mentioning, John, was the Regional Commission on Disabilities meeting
Yes, if you want to go for the,
22nd?
on August 22nd. I know it's a busy time, and it's actually, this one's actually close to you guys as well. If I remember correctly, it's in Barnstable. It's all close. I say close, but
Yeah.
it's Barnstable. Hyannis down at the Youth and Family Center down there.
you get to meet the director and network with the other
And that's a half
commissions.
day.
And that's just a
It's a half
one-day
day.
thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a half-day thing, yeah.
Half day, and it's not, there's no fee?
No, it's free.
No.
It's free. And I think there might be, there will be food. The Barnstable Commission's going to buy the food for the member, for people who show up. Yeah, people who come. So, and they have good food down there. So it's good stuff. And it's a reverse commute. It depends on which way you commute. It's a reverse commute. So
Yeah, there won't be traffic.
traffic is really bad.
Yeah.
But
Okay. traffic
They
on
can't-
the
they
Bridgewater
can't- they can't,
either.
no.
yeah.
Bridgewater's good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right,
Now, potential and past new ADA violations. There is an issue that I tried to get hold of Bob with. There was some construction done that they didn't repair it on Turner Road in front of, I think, number 160. There's an area that was cut out of the sidewalk that's never been filled. Now, there is an opening to the beach across the street, and there are handicap parking spots to the right. They go through the parking lot to go to the convenience store right over here. And you get stuck in that ditch, and the people that live in the home kind of feel they're tired of going out helping people back and forth. This is a big, hot issue because it's so close to the beach, and I live on that road, and that when it comes to traffic-wise, based on the sun, people driving down the road are like this, trying to, I hope we don't hit somebody, because they're committed to go straight and they can't back up. And this is the peak season right now, so I have to talk to someone about getting that area pitched, because the sidewalk is,
So
it's less than 20 inches wide in regards to where you can either
So
get a
what is,
wall or
a temporary fix would be filling in the ditch?
they would be moving the ditch, putting, right now, they have a lot of things tarring back and forth, if they put asphalt and level that area out smooth, so it's not a cross slope,
Right, right.
but right
So-
now, it's a hole. There's a hole that's,
Right.
that's like the size of half this table going this way.
So
Okay.
isn't that something then we can tell our liaison, to please get a hold of the grounds department to fix that?
But we
I
were
mean, I thought
we're
that's-
supposed to go with Bob Vogel, and he has.
When it comes to people,
Well,
they
John-
complain to the
I mean, you
commission.
said this is, sounds to me like it's a, I jog down there, so I'm gonna jog by it tomorrow and find 160, John. I know you live
That's,
right
that's,
next.
just-
that's the store.
it's-
That's the store. That's where you live, John,
It's the
right?
house just before the parking lot to the beach.
Okay, so it's right next to where you live. I'll take a look at it, but it's a DPW issue, and they're not redoing the road, they're not doing the sidewalks. It is on their plan because they're doing seawall repairs, water repairs, and that's the next stretch to have the seawall done. They're not gonna do anything with the roads or sidewalks until all that work's done, and then they're gonna bring it up to make sure that there's going to be like curbing, granite, sidewalks in the future. But at this point, I'll find out about the 160, I'll look at that, and I'm actually going to email
170.
Cafferty right now.
170?
170,
170? Okay.
okay, and it comes down to where, I think they said the gas company did something back and forth and didn't repair the area, so it's,
Oh, we'll make sure we get that fixed.
okay?
Plus, the other thing I'm gonna make sure, John, I thought you were going to mention, which I guess you didn't, is that across from Scituate Avenue at the very, there's a beach opening, and there's actually a ramp that's cement, and it's all covered with sand, and that needs to be removed, because that's
The sand?
accessible.
I haven't gotten there, Jeff, I have some more issues open, John, but yes, that's the one thing.
We can't go down anywhere along that.
Can I
on
ask a favor?
Oceanside because
Can I
it's
ask a favor,
covered.
John? Just, I know, number one, John Denny was here till about 11:30 last night with the select board meeting. I know a lot of people here.
I was there too.
This is close to 2.5 something hour meeting.
We're scheduled
We're
to
coming up
10. We're scheduled to 10.
You guys are scheduled to 10. Oh, goodness.
Okay.
All right, it's fine.
Is,
No, we can perhaps
But we can-
change.
we don't have to.
Okay, go on.
Um,
Sorry.
okay. As John mentioned also that some of the pathways has cement and the sand's been knocked into back and forth, there may be, maybe the lifeguards are gonna ask to get a blower and blow it back and forth, I don't know. I might even bring my blower down and blow
I
it.
don't know if the right person would do that.
Okay?
They have been doing it on some of the walkways.
Yeah, they have, well, this point. The other thing that was still opening is that the issues with the telephone poles and the cables coming down, we haven't really rectified that
My
letter
fault, I
yet.
haven't proposed the letter to the manager of National Grid because I've been remiss in finding out his name.
Because.
I think about it and I say, well, I can't write the letter unless I know his name, and then I go looking for his name and I can't find it, and then I,
So, is it National Grid that did it incorrectly?
Yes.
Yes.
well, they've done,
Okay,
but
so-
what our letter is to address the fact that there are guide wires
No,
that are in the,
If this is on
that are
Tilden,
not,
right?
Yeah.
that are
Tilden?
not,
Yeah.
no, it's
Until
not just
Turner
Tilden, it's
Road,
throughout
Jericho
town.
Road.
There are guide
yes.
wires that are not protected, so you can walk into it
Yeah,
and
no,
say,
I drive by them
cut
every
your
day.
head off.
I understand that part, but
And
why,
so that's a
why,
National Grid issue because they own the guide wires.
right, so why are we contacting National Grid?
Because we were advised by our
Liaison.
selectman liaison to write the letter to National Grid.
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
So I
Oh,
would
hold on,
suggest-
no, back up for a second. John raised this issue with me in March, and I said, you gotta pick priorities for your commission. John thought it was a priority for guidelines or guide wires that are on telephone poles and sidewalks. I said, if that's what the commission wants as a priority, then let me know. And, if that's what the commission wants to make it a priority, fine. If you find guide wires that are connected to telephone poles that are dangerous, or you feel, shall we say, impede the progress of the sidewalk, then let me know, because National Grid comes to us periodically for new telephone poles.
Exactly what John said to me,
And
yes.
what we will do at that point, I could certainly say to them, these are significant impediments for people with disabilities, and as a selectman, I cannot vote for anything unless you're willing to fix these sections, but I need to know what streets or sections are located.
I can
can't just
go
tell
around
them.
and get them, but
That's
you,
all I'm just
you,
saying. That's
you
fine
had,
with
John,
you
me.
had told us at least 2 months ago, because I've been very remiss in writing a letter, that a
doing
letter
fine.
should be coming from the Commission on Disabilities to National Grid, because
Sure.
it was up to them, it was not up to the town.
Right, because they own it.
Right,
It's theirs.
so
And it
you
wasn't,
didn't say that we needed to identify things to you.
Well,
No,
I
if
don't
you
think
want
I
the
want
board to
to-
get involved to try to fix something here, then we need to know the exact
Well,
locations. One of the
yeah.
issues that we had in the past were telephone poles that were sistered, that were cut and left there, and they just remained, and we were saying it's a danger. So my board can certainly act with National Grid and tell them, when they come to us and ask for something, we have a little ability to say to them, tough, you're not getting anything unless you fix this. That's why I'm saying to you, if you as a commission want to identify locations that are impediment, that's fine, it's well within your purview from my standpoint. I'm saying if you want my board to get involved, then I need to know specifically, but that has to be a priority of your board, you have to
So,
decide.
I mean,
That
if we
was-
just write a letter and then most likely get limited response, then we could go to you with
First letter.
specific.
Sure, that's all I'm.
First letter
looking
should
to
be
do.
to the select board.
yes.
To notify them.
That's what we heard back months ago,
And
yes.
then they can kind of direct us on whether we should write a letter.
That's right.
Once
When
we
I-
find and
But
identify.
Months ago it was talked that way and John talked back and forth. And the issue was,
Well,
it's
no,
not just people,
For this one, because it's because National, this isn't something that happens just in Scituate, it's throughout the Commonwealth where these telephone poles go in, they don't put the telephone poles in the right spot, or the utility companies haven't moved stuff, because there's a whole chain of events that has to happen to move a telephone pole. I know the guide wires are a different
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But
we- we
that's
were just
usually the-
addressing guidelines.
Right.
it was a
So
big thing in
it's-
Attleboro, and they did like, they recommend doing 5 or 7 telephone poles at once to get the job done faster.
And it's something I think we should raise to them first to see if it's something that they
Yeah.
can resolve through their natural process once we identify the items, and then we can,
Then I won't write it.
then if they're not able to resolve, we
Yeah.
can,
We'll get the last
We can
meeting, my
pursue other things.
chairperson got it done. Secondly, the chairperson comments. People have asked me since the last meeting, when Mr. Higgins talked about some devices used, a hook to open door pressures back and forth. I use this. One is to take the pressure of the door. An interior door is supposed to be 5 pounds per square inch maximum. And people want to know what that means and so on. You don't want it to go too fast, because a lot of people who have disabilities use it for balance. So if you open the door and it flies, it comes down to where there's your grabbing point, you tend to fall with the door. Also has to have a slowing process, and there are 3 screws on top of it he's talking about. One is the time the door will close automatically, and the pressure coming back. So this goes to pull and push. This is the pull pressure, that's the push pressure. The other thing I asked for, when I talked about 4 inches, what they were talking about, things coming off the walls or so on. And
John,
Mr.
what
Roy,
is-
what is this about?
I was
Why
asked for
is it-
comments that people asked me the last meeting, when Mr. Higgins talked about certain things and so on.
Oh, so you were
What is
asked
it?
by us, some of us?
I was asked by people that heard the meeting what he was talking about.
It was on TV,
It
too.
was on TV.
I understand, but why do we need to do this now?
This is we still have 10 o'clock, and I was asked these questions. I said, I will address them at the meeting. It's televised. They saw it on TV last week, or last month. This is it. When the thing, I know you don't like when I talk.
No, it's not that.
Because
I
you always
just
roll your
realized
eyes for the
it was
past couple of
this.
months. And this is what people are talking about, get along. But I've done my best to incorporate things. What I use this for, I can see it faster and so on, and people tend to ask what I'm doing because it stands out, and I explain there's a reason why this is here. You don't want more than 4 inches because people have a visual pair, they tend to lean towards the walls, and they can be caught on it. Okay, it also goes for the handicap parking signs. You have the post, it can't protrude more than 4 inches past that issue. And Elena and I went to a meeting based on signs back and forth, and there was a thing with Bob Bogle and issues on the right laws for signs. And we pulled the code and back, and they thought it meant this. And we're like, no, that was an older rule and regulations. These are most apply. So even, you know,
What does that have to do with now?
this has to do back and forth. People ask how you measure things.
I know, but.
Do
we
based on
need to know
science
that
back and forth, this is what they asked me to show them with the divide, and that's
They
it.
asked.
I'm basically done. Thank you for your time.
You know, I just-
Is there a motion to,
Motion to adjourn.
any more information we want to talk about? Is that it? Oh, one last thing. I did mention the part about the widow's walk.
Yeah,
You said next week?
yeah.
Okay. I'm still waiting for Bob Vogt on that, so that's still an open issue that I'll resolve.
Is he on vacation?
I don't know, I haven't heard anything yet.
Oh, okay. All right,
These were
Motion to
excellent.
adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I move to adjourn.
I